Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evolve Yourself TV. Yeah, Joy, I'm going to be on that right now, actually. I was actually curious, is that volume, how is that volume on the Amitabha Buddha chant? Is it too loud? Because I want to play it at that volume for the meditation. What do you guys think? Chad Guy, what do you think? A little low? All right, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Let me turn it up a little bit. All right, how does that sound? Is that better? Is that too loud? Or should it be louder? Chad Guy, what do you think? What do you think, man? It's better? Chad Guy, do you agree? I'm trying to get as much feedback as possible. But more feedback, the better. Is the Amitabha Buddha chant at a decent volume for a meditation? Like you'll be able to hear my voice over it, but it won't. But you can still hear it, right? All right, I'm going to go with my trusty channel shaman, JT Farms' opinion, because she's never led me astray. Most people lead me astray at least once or twice. JT has never led me astray. It's a rarity these days. All right, let me turn it off though. It's great. All right, cool. So if both of you like it, that makes me feel really really good about that. I'm just going to always leave it at this volume then, and I'm going to, what is this, 40 decibels or whatever? All right, 40 decibels here. Okay, so anyways, yes, I am Agni James. Hello, welcome. Chad Guy knows me. JT Farms knows me. Ignorant knows me, right? And anyways, yeah, I'm Agni James. I am a guided meditation streamer. I come on here and I stream guided meditations. Typically, that is the focus. That is the primary focus of my streams, all right? And then I also am a chess instructor IRL, so I do chess streams as well. And I have a master's in analytic philosophy, so I do philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics streams. Those are my three areas of philosophy that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, that's what I do. Oh, and we've been reading through the Tao Te Ching, one of the greatest books ever written. We just finished verse 17 of the Tao Te Ching, and we've been discussing it and talking about it, and we've been cleansing our chakras with the sevenfold journey, reclaiming mind, body, and spirit through the chakras. And I mean, I bet you can't even believe there's more. There's more, everyone. We also do Grimm's Fairy Tales. Another excellent book, right? Who hasn't heard of Grimm's Fairy Tales? It's a wonderful book. We just finished. Okay, I will say this though. We just finished my least favorite of all the stories. It was the bear and the was it a wren? I think it was like the bear and the wren, right? I did not like that story. And the reason why I didn't like that story, you might ask, Agni, why didn't you like that story? Oh, that was a great story. I don't like the fact that the bear, at the end of the day, had to just like go apologize to the kids of the wren, they were gonna the wren threatened to break his ribs. It just didn't seem tactful, you know. If the wren had flown into the bear's cave and been like, "Hey bear, I'll tell you what, you know, just could you please go and just, you know, apologize to my kids. You did break into my home and you did insult them, right?" If he had communicated like that, I think it would have been a noble gesture. And I think the bear would have been like, you know what, yeah, totally, you know, totally. I'll go do that, you know, because it's really it's a low stakes situation for the bear. All he has to do is just, you know, say he's sorry, right? But I don't like the wren coming in there like thinking the wren's like super powerful and just telling the bear that hey bear, yeah, I'm gonna break your ribs if you don't go apologize to my kids. Like that's a little vicious. You're not supposed to say stuff like that, especially a wren to a bear. Okay, anyways. Yeah, Chad Guy, you got your birthday coming up in 2 days, man. I'm excited, dude. Should we like have like a birthday stream for you? Let's like celebrate Chad Guy's birthday in chat. Like, I don't know. I mean, what do you have going on, man? Chad Guy say Agni is a possible to be in a healthy relationship with a person who's a dark triad. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about that. You'll just stay at home, bake pizza rolls. Dude, don't stay at home. We'll at least like come to the stream and hang out, man. If it's going to be your birthday on Thursday, dude, we'll have like a special meditation for you, man. You know, we'll like, I don't know, we'll make it interesting. We'll make it lively. I'm good at making things lively. At least that's what people tell me. My neighbors like to tell that to me because I'm so loud. All right. Let's see. JT say, you and Caesar will have a big birthday bash alone. Yeah, dude. All right, we're going the Caesar route now. You got to bring Caesar into the conversation every now and then. By the way, JT, I've been meaning to ask you, when do you start your new job? Let's give a big round of applause. No, that's like the wrong thing. Like, big congratulations to JT. She just got a new job, so I just want to see when she's going to be starting. Probably in a couple weeks. All right, cool. Well, that's going to be exciting. Are you stoked? I mean, it's always a big deal, to start like a new chapter in your life, right? It's always a big deal. Okay, hold on. Chad Guy is shared a link. He shared a link about Dark Triad. All right, I'm going to open it, but here's the thing. I have this other. Oh no, what? It's not going to let me do it the way I want. I want to just copy and paste it. So I click on it. I got to go this route. All right, whatever. Dark Triad. Yeah. Let's get this going. We're going to close this, and then I'm going to open it up so everyone can see it. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Let's get this on the big screen. Inception time. We got Inception time. Dark Triad. All right. There we go. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, basically all at once. All right, well, let me read a bit about it. I think you guys can all see this. Yeah. The Dark Triad is a psychological theory of personality first published by Delroy L. Paulhus and Kevin M. Williams in 2002. It describes 3 notably offensive but non-pathological personality types: Machiavellianism, subclinical narcissistic personality disorder, and subclinical antisocial personality disorder. By the way, an interesting fact, of all professions, police officers have the highest rate of antisocial personality disorder. I thought that was kind of cool. But anyways, each of these personality types are called dark because each one is considered to contain malevolent qualities. In contrast, there are 3 personality types that have been labeled as a light triad because each represents a loving or beneficent orientation towards others. The personality types labeled as right triad are Kantianism, belief in personal duty. Yeah, I know all about that. I'm always preaching Kant stuff out here. Humanism, valuing the dignity of other people. Yeah, that's also really important. That's like the Carl Rogers type theory, right? And faith in humanity, belief in the fundamental goodness of people. All 3 dark triad traits are conceptually distinct, although empirical evidence shows them to be overlapping. They're associated with callous, manipulative, interpersonal stuff. So here's my problem, Chad Guy. Here's my problem with the dark triad, and not just with the dark triad, with all this stuff in general, with labeling people according to certain personality traits. I don't like the fact. Wait, is it still going? Is is Amitabha Buddha's chant still going? I don't think it should be going, right? No, that one's off, and that one's off. That's the one problem about not wearing headphones. You never know what the hell's being played in the background. But anyways, my notion about personality types. I feel I'm a big proponent of not putting people in categories, of not saying, oh, you are X, or oh, you are Y. You are the following type of person, right? Because the second you label someone, you will start seeing them differently. Hold on, I think my camera's a little out of focus. Is my camera? Yeah, my camera's just like a tad out of focus. All right, we're gonna have to fix this the good old fashioned way. Let's see. Or maybe it's my eyes. Are my eyes out of focus? Actually, I don't think I'm out of focus at all. Am I? No, I'm not even out of focus. Hey, hold on though. I really like the way I look right now, so I'm going to leave the lights on. Speaking of narcissistic personality disorder, I'm just joking. You got to play, right? But here's the thing about labeling people with certain personality traits. It's like, oh, if you're X, you become that thing, right? And then anyone who believes that you're that X is gonna have that confirmed with everything you do, right? Anything you do that can be interpreted in one of 2 ways is going to be interpreted in a way that supports the notion that you have personality type X, and that's always fucking weird, I don't want to be that. I want to see each individual as a unique new entity, as like a new possibility, not as just a collection of personality traits, right? That to me, that seems like it reduces the person, right? It reduces the person to a set of properties. And I think a person has intrinsic value, intrinsic worth. Their nature is more valuable than anything on the planet. Their essence is more valuable than anything because it's pure. It comes from the source of all creation. It comes from that well of everlasting love, peace, joy, and harmony, right? It's like saying someone is like, oh, a narcissist, or oh, an has antisocial personality disorder, or oh, is a Machiavellianism, has Machiavellianism, right? Has that personality type, right? Then you're just going to see that in them, right? That's the problem. What confirmation bias creeps into every area of our world. In fact, I was just having a friend. I feel like I'm a little out of focus. JT, I think you're wrong. I think I am a little out of focus. Or maybe, maybe it's just my OCD kicking in. Is this just my OCD kicking in? Maybe, I don't know. If I am, it's like the tiniest amount. That's the crazy thing about the situation right now. If I am out of focus, it's just like a smidge out of focus. But who knows? Anyways, what we're talking about different personality types and how if you label someone as a given personality type, then via certain psychological mechanisms such as confirmation bias and self-fulfilling prophecy, you will start to envision that person as an embodiment of properties as opposed to a distinct, unique individual whose core essence is nothing but pure love. From the context of eternity. Obviously, with this illusory dualistic framework, things appear to be more tangible, and a person seems to take on all the characteristics of a body that it's currently inhabiting, right? But from the bigger picture, from where it really matters, from where it really counts, from the capital T truth, right? From that place, these personality traits, these things, don't even matter. The only thing that matters is your essence, which is pure love and eternal. I think I'm talking fast today. Yeah, I'm talking a little fast today. But anyways, it's okay. It's okay to talk fast every now and then, right? Maybe we should slow down and do some meditation. Okay. Let me try to get back to a normal energy level. I fucking worked out a lot today, so I'm pretty pumped up. I woke up, I worked out, and while I was working out, I was doing options trading. It's crazy. It's like you're doing push-ups, you're doing core stuff, right? You're doing all sorts of stuff, and then you're also looking at the computer, and it's SPY's going down 1%. I better my iron condors are gaining in value. Should I close this one out? Should I open a new one? Because when the VIX goes up. VIX is the volatility index. So those of you who are interested in the stock market or options trading, VIX is the volatility index, right? VIX. And when the VIX goes up, you get more money if you sell contracts, if you sell options contracts, and vice versa. If you're buying an options contract, you're going to have to pay more money to buy that contract when the VIX is up, because that assumes there's more volatility in the market. So the chances of your call ending up actually worth something and valuable and maybe making a lot of money, or your put making a lot of money, increases when the VIX goes up. So that's why you have to pay more premium. So I was basically having to do that and work out at the same time, which is kind of like a morning routine for me. I've gotten used to doing that now. But anyways, yeah, this is out of focus. It really feels like it's out of focus a little bit. I mean, maybe not. I like the really sharp image. I feel like every once in a while, yeah, it seems like a smidge, the tiniest, by the tiniest margin, I'm out of focus. I'm just, it's just my OCD. Welcome to OCD. Those of you who have it, you know what it's about. You know all about OCD. Some people have it with germs. I was hanging out with a friend recently, and he was freaking out about going swimming because he was concerned about kids peeing in the pool and stuff like that, right? Or he's concerned about his food, whether it's perfectly clean or not, right? And it's everyone's got their own thing, right? I'm always concerned about whether I'm in focus or not. Okay, anyways, JT Farms used to LO nervous energy. Yeah, that's the thing about starting a new job. When you start a new job, there's always going to be some anxiety. There's always going to be some nervous energy. But here's the thing, JT, and here's what I want you to do. Do this for me. Just try to be a little more cognizant of your breath when you're going in or before you go in there. You maybe do a meditation. Maybe just do some breathing, on your way in, and just And remember, you can always go back to your breath. Keep that in mind. It helps me. It's something that helps me when I have to be in a very anxious or a difficult situation, right? Because in life, we're always, you never know what's going to happen. Any minute we could be in a very challenging situation, right? And something that always helps me is just to remember, hey, the truth is within. I can always go within to the place of pure love and oneness, and not have to be so attached to the outcome of these, given states of affairs that are occurring around us. You're not. The external events don't need to control me. Hey, Brando Jandro, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in, friend. My name is Agni James. I stream primarily guided meditations. I also have a master's in analytic philosophy, so I typically stream philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics. And I'm a chess instructor, IRL, so I do chess streams as well. So welcome in. We do all sorts of stuff in here. I'm mixing it up a lot lately. But anyways, a new job can always be stressful, JT. A new job. I mean, every time I've ever had a new job, like going in on that first day, it's always like, oh, this is gonna be interesting, right? We'll see how this plays out, right? Brando Jandro, you say thank you, nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see you as well, friend. Welcome in. And Chad Guy likes to use the boom command. We have the boom command in chat. He's big into the Butterfinger boom command these days. That's like you've used that one multiple times, and that one was never around before, man. That's like one of your new faves, dude. It's cool that you're into that one. We all have our own emotes, right? That we like, We all have like our favorite emotes, like our go-to emote, right? I don't think people talk about like their go-to emote, but usually people have like a go-to emote. It's like, there's one type of emote that you could just use for a lot of different contexts. We're gonna do some reading from the Tao Te Ching pretty soon. Also, this is one of the greatest books ever written. This is Lao Tzu's masterpiece. And it looks a little out of focus. Let me see if I can. What if I put the book up? Yeah. No, that's a little better. Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. Anyways, I'm not going to let my OCD get the better of me. I'm just going to allow it to maybe be a smidge out of focus or be in perfect focus, and we're going to move on, right? Because that's what life's about, Life's about moving on, right? Anyways, I think we're going to do a puzzle rush. It's that time. We haven't had a puzzle rush in a while. So, chess.com puzzle rush. You have 3 minutes to solve as many chess puzzles as you can. The highest I ever got was 29. When I stream it, I'm typically happy if I can get in the 20s. So like 20 is a good score, 21, 22, any of that I'm always happy with. The highest I've ever gotten is 29. My best today is 24. So let's see how many puzzles I can do in 3 minutes. All right. And these are primarily checkmate puzzles. They are win material puzzles, and they are promotion puzzles. A couple defensive puzzles scattered in there as well. All right. Mate. Check and mate. Mate. Just this idea. Okay, and then mate in 2, 3, mate in 3, mate in 1, mate in 1, win the rook. Wait, no, that was a mate. better than win the rook. Okay. Double check, I believe. Yeah, that's cool. Mate. That was a cool one, actually. I wasn't really expecting that one. So I think I need to take here. If I take that would be mate if I did that. That would be bad, actually. Oh, all right. I'll just beat him. How about that? Instead of trying to defend, I just play the game like it's supposed to and just beat the person. That's probably a better idea. This is a cool one. The queen couldn't take. Wait a second. Oh, I think this is the idea. Yeah. That's a pretty one. That's not an easy. Just pick up the bishop with the fork. What, just up? Yeah, I don't think he can stop this pawn from promoting. I think that's the deal. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, let's do it. And then we just push up. Oh, I'm in check. I got to move up and then push. Yeah, he can't stop it. Okay, let's see. What do we got going on here now? Let's see. Oh, just win the piece. No. There must have been something better in the position. All right, whatever, mate. guess just, what? Just take the rook? Doesn't seem right. Something's wrong with this one. Oh! There we go. Check and mate. Cool. It was lurking there. It was lurking in the position.
Okay, so that was good. That was a solid meditation. I'm pretty
What's the deal with this guy? With this one right here?
I think it's time that we do a
So I think it's got to be just no. I've already missed 2. So this is getting a little bit scary right now. So let's see, take
anonymously. So I'm going to get a random opponent.
and then take and take. All right. It's one of these checks. It's got to be this one. Oh, I'm in check. I'm in check. What am I doing here? Do I take or block or move? I think I just take. All right. And then no, I can't do that. I got to move. All right. They threw a defensive puzzle in there. That's kind of crazy. They usually don't throw the defensive puzzle. I got 20. All right. I barely made it. I got into 20. When I get in the 20s, I'm happy for that. That was tough. That was pretty sneaky them to throw in the other thing. JT say, Agnew, you can hear last night's stream in the background. Oh, is it going? Cool. All right. Thank you for letting me know now. All right. Well, yeah, that's intense. That's intense. You get a double dose of me. You get a double dose of me. That's a lot. JT say, Agni, is your cell on or another screen on the computer you can hear? How loud was it? That's kind of interesting. It does look a little blurry to me. I want to fix this. I don't know. Is it a smidge? Oh, so it was just like lightly on in the background. All right. So it wasn't like me like blaring my voice. That would have been weird if like this whole time I was just like blaring in the background and like no one said anything. Okay. Anyways, that's Puzzle Rush. All right. So anyways, what else is going on? Chad guy, you say you think Agnes tried the Wim Hof? Yeah, I've tried Wim Hof breathing. Absolutely. So there's a local spiritual circle called Zenadime that is in my area, and they do like a lot of sound healings, sound baths. They do like menstrual ceremonies for women. I don't know, womb cleansing and stuff. They do all sorts of like like night sky, stare at the stars ceremonies, right? And they do Wim Hof breathing over there, and I did some there, and I've done some on my own. There's some great videos out there on it actually. Let's see. Oh, whoa! Tinder Eos, man. Been a long time, dude. Welcome back. Holy shit, man. It's been ages, dude. Good to see ya. Good to see you, man. Yeah. I hope you're doing well. How's everything going with you these days, man? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Last time you were here, I don't know if I was even playing chess. I play chess on here now. I do chess. We still do the guided meditations and philosophy talks. We've also been doing readings from the Tao Te Ching, one of the greatest books ever written, Lao Tzu's masterpiece. And we've been doing chakra balancing with the Sevenfold Journey. And we have been reading through Grimm's Fairy Tales, another awesome book. So yeah, we've been doing a lot. I don't remember what, when you like, oh, now it's definitely out of focus. All right, now I can actually like stop being as OCD and like believe that it's out of focus, but it's definitely out of focus now. But yeah, so we've been doing a lot of different content. Welcome back. I hope you're well. Are you still streaming? You were streaming for a while. I haven't seen you streaming. Perfect. And now I look crisp. Yeah, I got rid of that blurriness. That there was a little bit of blurriness before. This is a crisp Agni James. Look at this mug. This is crisp. Oh yeah, Tinderos, you say it's 4 a.m. over there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, 4 a.m. Where were you at? Where were you at, man? 4 a.m. I always forget, man. But yeah, you're not streaming anymore. Yeah, well, that's probably why I haven't seen you around then. Germany, yes, but I thought weren't you living in Mexico or something for a while? I thought you were like you were from Germany, but you were living in Mexico. Tinderos, you say you got crazy about reading books, dude. That's a good way to spend your time. But and if you come here, we can read with us with the Tao Te Ching, right? Yeah, like what am I reading? I've been reading a lot of the books out here. Currently, I got two books out that I'm currently reading. We got Camus. I'm rereading The Rebel. This is a book I read a long time ago, and I just have I got this yoga book right here, The Perfection of Yoga. By the way, that's a pretty cool picture, isn't it? Look at that, The Divine Grace. You got the Divine Grace of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Cool, right? Yeah, you know what they say about yogis? They say even if you're a yogi, no matter what you do, like you will always come back in your next carnation as a yogi, right? So like even if you like have a terrible life and whatnot, you'll still come back as a yogi, and you'll make progress towards your path. Let's see. Yeah, I've been doing good, Tindereos. Today was like busy. I've been working out a lot lately. I woke up, I worked out, did options trading. Then I went to the physical therapist and worked out. Then I came back, taught a chess lesson. Then I went for a run, and then the other day I did like 5 workouts in a day. I don't know. I've been working out. I've been feeling energy, and this week has been great because I haven't had to teach any chess camps, just some individual lessons and classes, right? So I've had more time, so I can work out more. All right. Let's see. Chad guy, you say, could you imagine Agni as in a bus driving in Chicago while gunshots are being fired off and Agni is giving people guided meditation to relax? Yeah, I would love to do that, man. I would love to do that. That would be so. Imagine that, right? Imagine that, just being able to be perfectly calm and peaceful, even when the whole world around you is in madness, is in chaos, right? That would be such a cool thing, right? And there's people like that. There are people that are spiritually evolved enough to calm themselves and be in a state of perfect love and oneness and joy, even when things in the external world are falling apart, right? And I've always admired that. I think that's a great skill to have. Meditation is a tool to help one achieve that, right? And so is yoga, and so is Kumnaye and Tai Chi, all that stuff, right? All right. So, anyways, let's see. Kegi said, or Agni will be screaming. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'd be screaming. If there were gunshots going off, I'd be trying to help. Unless I had was getting shot, or you know what? Maybe I'm completely fucking wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe if gunshots were going off, I would be screaming. Who knows? That's the thing. People always like to envision how they would act, right, when something crazy happens. But you never know how you're going to act until you actually act that way, right? You're never like, oh, I'm gonna like do X if crazy event Y Y happens, and then the crazy event Y happens and you don't do X because like you're so rattled, or you do something different, right? Yeah, it's always interesting. Let's see. Tindereos, you say just finished The Open Society and Its Enemies from Karl Popper. Karl Popper, man, he is an awesome dude. In fact, let me grab it. I don't know if you've one thing that he wrote that was super influential for me when I read it. It's called Science, Conjectures, and Refutations. Here, I'll pull it up so you can all see it. Oh, hold on a second. Sukatos. Yeah, here it is. Okay, and that one I found super interesting. Karl Popper was a really cool dude, actually. I don't know, I was telling a story about him the other day, and it's worth saying again. Most of you probably haven't heard it. So, let's say two guys are on a philosophical debate, right? No one wanted to debate with Karl Popper. He was one of the most ruthless debaters like ever, and then in his writings as well too. Because here's what he would do: you'd come at him with your argument, right? And he'd listen, he'd hear out your argument, and then he'd start pointing out like ways to improve it. He's like, well, hold on, we can make feature X much stronger. We can bolster it if we add the following framework to it, right? So he'd build it up as much as he could. And then he'd say, okay, we can make feature Y even stronger too, and make your argument even more coherent if we add this other feature to it. So then he'd add that to B, right? And then he'd be like, oh, and we can make C stronger by adding something else to it, right? So basically he'd take their argument and he would refine it and hone it and make it like way stronger than it ever was, right? He'd bring it to the maximum height of like how strong an argument could possibly be, And then from that pinnacle of like strength, he would systematically dismantle the entire argument. You know, he would just go through and like rip it to shreds and be like, none of this works. None of this works, and here's why. And he was so methodical in his way of thinking, in his logic and his reasoning, that he was always able to shred things down, you know, and find holes. He was amazing at finding holes in other people's argumentation. So that's cool that you're into Popper. All right. Let's see. Chad guy, you say you should have gave that prostitute a guided meditation. Oh, the one that jumped on my windshield. Yeah. Tinderos, I was actually telling the story the other day about that. I was like a 16-year-old kid driving in Chicago, and some fucking prostitute jumped on my windshield. I was at a stoplight, just like waiting there, and the prostitute jumped on my windshield, and it was like crazy. I was like, whoa, there's a prostitute on my windshield. You know, she was like drunk and being ridiculous, right? And so like I got her off my windshield, and I flew through like a red light, and then a cop gave me a ticket. It was a fucked up situation. I'm like, but there was a prostitute on my windshield, and he's like, you got $50? And by the way, Chicago is known for its corruption. This cop was literally asking me for a $50 bribe right there. I looked at my wallet. I had $38, and I'm like, I got 37, you know, I got 38. He's just like, nope, I'm writing you a ticket then. And it was like a $100 ticket. You know, I was 16. I was like, what the fuck, man? You know, like, dude, I'm going to give you 30, all my money. And I'm like, can we go to an ATM? He's like, no. He's like, I'm not, you know, sorry, you're getting a ticket. But he would have let me go if I just threw him $50. So after that moment, I always tried keeping some extra money in my car just in case something like that happened. Yeah, that was a crazy night. And by the way, the reason why I went to the city that night to begin with was to go to a place called the Atomic Cafe. It was an awesome coffee shop that had been in Chicago for like, you know, a long time. It was almost like the point of a historical landmark, but not quite. And people used to gather in there and play chess. They'd play chess all day. And, you know, they would just drink coffee and play chess. And my friend's uncle was a 60-year-old Indian dude who like was really big into chess, and he's the one that actually taught me chess and got me into chess. But anyways, he used to bring us there when we were younger. Then I started going there when I was older and could drive down there. So I drove there. I played some brilliant games of chess, and then driving back, I had that prostitute jump on my car, and then I had to get her off, and then I get the ticket for going through the red light. I should have bribed the cop, but I didn't have the money. It was like it was a totally bizarre situation. It was totally weird. All right, let's play a game. Let's play a game on Lee Chess. I'm gonna play a chess game. It'll be a random opponent on Lee Chess, and it could be a grandmaster. It could be a complete noob. You never know until we actually start. Let me load it up here so we can all see it. All right, everyone should be able to see it. And my opponent left. All right, new opponent. Okay, I don't know why he left. I'm pretty sure everyone can see this good. So is it going to be open or closed, right? This is closed. This is open. All right, so he's doing a weird variation that I'm unfamiliar with, which is fine. He's going to fianchetto his bishop. That's his idea. He wants to match my bishop. I don't know about this line. This line seems a little shaky. No one plays this. I mean, people don't really play this. I don't know if he knows his. Let's see. Where's he going to go with that? I come in here. He hops in. Something seems off. This is not a standard line. I should be able to punish this, but I'm not quite sure how right now. I think I strike. Yeah, I strike at the center, I think, but I can't quite do it yet. I need another piece to support it. I want to get this break in. I want to get the E5, the D5 break in. Wait, hold on. I push. He takes. Oh, I can't. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna go with this variation. We're gonna go with this. Because normally this is a problem, but he can't get his dark square bishop on D6, so I'm not super concerned. All right, so he's going in with this. So now I just do this idea. He wants to trade off his dark square bishop for mine, and I want to try to avoid that trade if I can, but it looks like he's going to be able to at least get that maybe. All right, so he's going in for the attack. All right, I push out. This move, by the way, is super important. Getting this break in, getting that pawn break in is crucial. All right, so we got this idea. So So now when he moves this knight, he's going to have a discovered attack on my bishop. But all right, this guy is getting obnoxious. He's pressing. I think he's pressing a little too much here. All right, so he's looking to take. I guess I could just take this way. If he pushes here, I could just castle. That's kind of ballsy. Just a castle in this situation. And then if he pushes, I just retreat my bishop. There's got to be something better. I feel like he's gone astray. All right. I'm going to start with this idea. So now his knight's got to move. He might hop over here. You know, he might hop here, one of these squares, right? We'll see where his knight goes. This move, I don't know. My bishop can always come up to f6. So he's going with this. All right. I want to attack his bishop again. Let's get another piece right here. I'm interested about this pawn push. He pushes. What am I going to do? Let's see. He pushes. I'd like to hold on to this bishop. I'm almost tempted. No, I can't. Well, I could because of this pawn's here blocking everything. But okay, so he's going in for the pawn. So I should gain. Okay, he got the pawn there. Actually, that was probably should have protected that a little bit better. But oh well. He's on this pawn too now. We got discoveries. Ooh, that was not good that I allowed that. I didn't see that, to be honest. I didn't see that one. All right, let's try to get something going. I need some kind of counterplay. Where's this knight gonna go? If I attack it, the question is where does that knight go? Let's push forward. I don't like the fact that he can come out here and pin my knight to the king. I have some major issues with this position, to be honest. There are some major problems with this position. Not to mention I sacked a pawn for some reason. I blundered a pawn away. You can't just blunder a pawn away. Okay, so now we have this kind of position. All right. Let's see. What makes sense here? I need a castle. Another candidate move. No, that's not really a yeah, I mean, this is a candidate move. All right, I'm just going to castle. If he pushes, I'm just retreating. This bishop's okay here. A little pissed I'm down a pawn. I'm a little pissed I blundered that pawn though. That's the thing. When I'm streaming, I'm not concentrating as much. I can't focus as much. I should be blowing this guy off the board though. I'll tell you that much. All right, so he's doing that kind of idea. Let's get my rook in a better square. Okay, let's get my knight developed. Yeah. If I do it now. Yeah, this is still fine. I'm looking at hopping over here, but his knight's covering. There's take, and then hop over. I feel like his king is vulnerable. Oh, he just blundered. He just blundered a piece. He just blundered that. Whoa. Whoa. He just blundered the knight. All right, so much for me blundering my pawn. He blundered a knight. That's intense. All right, now this is a game I should definitely win. If oh, he resigned. He resigned. Okay, cool. Well, of course I'm going to win because he resigned. That's the one thing about not hearing the sounds. You don't always know when they resign or not, right? Or if it's a check or not, right? That was a fine game, Tinder. And everyone in chat, that was a fine game. It was a little sloppy, to be honest. Blundering that pawn was sloppy, but here, let's go back to it for a second. I had a spatial. I want to see what the computer says though about it. We can do some computer analysis. Let's go to the analysis board, and I want to see like what the deal was with this. So yeah, so like what about his idea? See, look at this. I'm already at 0.5. I have a 0.5 advantage already with this line. This is not typical against the Sicilian defense. I played the Sicilian hyper accelerated dragon variation. You can tell that because you see the Sicilian pawn right here on c5, and then there's a quick fianchetto of the dark square bishop on g7. So this is the line that I play, and it's very, very rare that someone plays bishop b2. That's just a really bizarre. It's just a really bizarre opening, and the computer doesn't like it either. It says he's already down. I'm already up half a point. All right, so I'm look at that. I'm up over a pawn right now. But let's see what. It hates e4 or e5. It hates e5 here. That was a mistake. Because the knight takes d5, bishop takes b2, knight takes e7, queen takes e7. That's a pretty crazy. Rook takes b2. That's a pretty crazy variation, but. I mean, look at that. Yeah, either I'm if he sees this one line right here, I'm down 1.4. If he doesn't see it, the next best move, I'm up one pawn. So it's not really a human variation, all right? Okay, so whatever. Either you memorize the line or you don't. So he took, and now I'm up 2 pawns, right? I take. He pushes, which is whatever. It doesn't like my push here because of this idea. Yeah, and then I didn't see the damn. I didn't see the take on c5 for some reason. That was a mistake. But look at that. Even with the pawn. That's funny. I'm down a whole pawn here, and it still says I have an advantage. I knew I was strong. Because look, this pawn right here is a major pest. It's completely obstructing the view of this bishop, right? This bishop's like, hey, I want to see over here, but I can't, you know. It's defended more than adequately, right? I have 1, 2, 3 defenders on it, right? This knight can get kicked at any time. I have look at this light square bishop, pinning this pawn to the rook, right? I have a lot of compensation for the pawn. A lot of people don't understand that about in chess. A lot of my students, they'll say, hey, look at this position. I'm up a pawn, I'm winning, and it's like, no, you could be up a pawn and be losing. You could be up a knight and be losing in some positions, or even a rook, or even a queen. It's crazy. Position is so important in chess. It's not just about material. The chess engine Stockfish 14 agrees with me. All right. So then, let's see, then I pushed out. All right, so I'm attacking the knight. He went to the best square, right? I castled. It's okay, look at this. The big arrow is castle, so I made the right move there. That was the best move, all right? He pushed. And I dropped back. It doesn't like that much, but whatever. Bishop out. Rook over. So it's about an even game at this point. We're pretty even. I like my center pawn. I like this pawn right here. It's a pretty good thorn in his side. Notice these 4 ranks are white's territory. These 4 ranks are black's territory. He has one piece of my territory, but it's not doing a ton, especially with my dark square bishop here eyeing this diagonal, right? And I have a pawn in the center, which is typically more valuable than a pawn on the wing. Like if this pawn gets traded off, he'd probably be happy because then the rook scope would be open. Right now, this pawn's actually blocking the scope of the rook, right? All right, so he castles. So the computer says it's about even though I'm down a pawn. Okay, this is the second best move, knight d5. I'll take it. Not the best, but the second best move. He comes there, and that's just it. That's just it. I take, and I am now up 8.3 points. That's why he left. All right, cool. Well, we got a chess game in to start the day. That was good. That was good. Let's see. Hey, how's it going? Taylor Jade. Yes, happy Taco Tuesday to you too. How are you doing tonight? It was great to have you around. Taylor Jade is awesome. She is a lively human being. She has energy. Like when she comes in the chat, I feel more energetic. And I'm already a high energy guy anyway. Taylor, if I was playing in the NBA, I'd be like a Verajao type player, like a Noah, it's like one of those big dudes that's like posts up, but is like really all over the place and is always diving for every ball. I'd be like one of those high energy guys, right? I'm not gonna be swishing any threes. I'm not gonna. My outside shooting game sucks, right? But give me the ball down low, and let me go one on one with some dude who's trying to stop me, and let's see if I can get it in the hoop, or let's see if he rejects rejects it in my face, right? But regardless, even if he rejects it, I guarantee I'll be the guy running to the ball first, and I'll be the one diving like out to get that ball, So that would be like my value. It helps to have like a high energy guy on your team, right? I'm sure you know about the high energy guys and all the sports you do and everything. But anyways, check out Taylor J. Drop her a follow. She's awesome, a wonderful human being. I'm pretty high energy tonight. Speaking of high energy, all right, let's get back to Tindreos. And you finally finished all the books from Nietzsche. Wow, I didn't know you were on such a Nietzsche kick. Dude, that is crazy, man. That is crazy. Good for you. I love the fact that you better yourself by like reading and trying to understand more about philosophy and about the world. I love that, man. We need more people like that. More people that care. They're not just like turning on the fucking TV like 24/7 and like watching fucking Dateline or something. They're actually trying to increase their knowledge base. That's awesome that you read all that from Nietzsche. Good for you. Good for you. Let's see. Chad guy, you say, is suffering normal and healthy, or should we avoid it? That's a really good question. Is suffering normal and healthy? Yeah, I mean, people. I think a lot of philosophers would say suffering is an aspect of the human condition, right? They would say, hey, you know what? What is the human condition? Throughout human history, what have people done? We've suffered. We've had to suffer a lot, right? There have been famines and plagues and tyrannical dictators and all sorts of crazy wars and all sorts of crazy stuff, right? I mean, suffering is we're built to have to deal with suffering, right? We have to tolerate it, and it can build character if you're able to work through it and persevere, right? But if you can't, then you end up dead, right? So like, does it build character? I would say yes, unless you end up dead, or in some kind of other like messed up state, like maybe you like drink yourself to death over the course of like 40 years or something, right? Because some people do that. Some people are like, yeah, the pain's too great. I'm just gonna drink myself to death, right? And it's like, hey, dude, if the pain is too great, man, then I get it. I get why people, I'm from Chicago. We're the heroin capital of the U.S., all the heroin comes up from Mexico and comes right to Chicago, and we're the hub, and it just goes out throughout the rest of the country. So I've had a lot of friends that got addicted to heroin over the years, and a lot of them were suffering. A lot of them were in a lot of pain prior to getting addicted, either like mentally, emotionally, or physically. Like one of my friends had just broke his femur. Imagine breaking your femur. Like that's got to be a shitty injury to work through, right? And then he kind of was like giving up on life. He's like, well, whatever. I'm just going to do heroin then, right? So people have different ways of dealing with suffering. Some people off themselves. Some people are able to work through it, and then they use that as fire and strength to do amazing things in the world, right? One of the coolest definitions of competitive excellence that I've ever heard is that competitive excellence is how well you respond after you make a mistake. And I think this holds true to suffering as well in large part, right? Like how well do you respond after the bad event happens, right? How well do you respond? People who are champions, like Michael Jordan, right? I've seen a lot of Michael Jordan games. I've seen a lot of LeBron James games. Taylor's seen a ton of Kobe games, right? It's like if Kobe misses a shot, he's not like, oh no, I missed a shot. I'm never gonna shoot again, right? No, he wants the fucking ball. He misses a shot. He's like, you know what? Give me the ball. I'm gonna make the next one. I'm gonna dunk the next one. I'm gonna swish a three, over some tall dude's head on the next one, right? Like those guys, they want the ball after they make a mistake, right? And competitive excellence, that it's definitely a feature of competitive excellence, if not a major component, maybe even the salient component of it, right? Suffering is like that, right? It's like how do we deal with suffering? Some people handle it so smoothly. Some people are like, well, sure, my whole family just got murdered, but at least I'm alive. I'm grateful that I'm alive and that I'm still here breathing, and I'm going to do my best to be a good person and help the people around me. And you see those people and you're like, wow, how does this person handle that? How does that person, persevere in these kind of situations, right? How do they do that? And then there's other people that are they get a scratch on their car and they go on a shooting spree, right? I mean, you never know how people deal with stuff. Let's see. All right. Taylor, you say, Yeah, that sounds like a good power forward or center position. You'd be like a Pippen. Well, I couldn't. No, I wouldn't be like a Pippen. I would say, Varejao is literally the guy that I always compare myself. Anderson Varejao. He was, you remember he had the crazy hair, and he was always like, I don't have the crazy hair, but like I got the beard, right? And he was always just like diving like full out, like into, even when it didn't fucking matter. That was the cool thing about Varejao. It's like your team would be up by like 20 with like 3 minutes left in the fourth, and he's like diving like into the stands. It's crazy, right? But I love it. You love a guy like that because they're gonna bring some energy to your team. They're gonna bring a spark to your team, right? Let's see, who else? I mean, there have been a lot of guys. I mean, even Shaq, when Shaq first came up, think about how much energy he had. That big dude moving that quickly, that was insane. His first couple of years with Orlando, like that was crazy. I mean, normally the big dudes are like the slow guys that are just like hanging out by the rim, and they're like, it looks like they're moving in slow motion compared to like the point guards, right? But Shaq was like so quick and like moving his body everywhere, and he was so strong that it was just totally unfair. It was completely unfair. Let's see, Tindereos, you say you already read some twice. You're already going through the Nietzsche twice, dude. That's awesome. Dude, good for you, man. Good for you. I love that. It's like Rebel, the Rebel I'm rereading right now. It's, you know what? If you read something, and I was hearing someone say this the other day, like if you read something and then read the same like book like 10 years later, or 5 years later even, you're gonna gain a lot of new knowledge from it. You're gonna get a lot out of it, right? People think, oh, I already read that, I'll never read it again. But your perspective changes, right? Over the course of time, you change, you evolve, you grow, right? So then when you read that book again, you're going to understand certain concepts that you were previously unable to grasp, right? Because the concepts were too abstract, or they didn't. There was no analogous thing in your life to relate the concept to, right? You didn't understand that concept. You hadn't experienced that feeling or that emotion, right? And then you reread it, and you're like, oh my God, I went through that. I get it now. I get what this author is actually trying to say. Speaking of which, there was a cool part I saw in a movie once. There was this girl who was like obsessed with some comic book author, right? She loved the guy, and he wrote like short stories too. And she came up to the guy and at a comic convention, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you," And then she starts describing one of his short stories, and she's like, "I love how you meant like blah 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 blah," and she like basically like gives him like her interpretation of it. She's like, it was such a powerful message you conveyed, right? And the author is like, well, actually, I didn't. That's not what I intended at all. That's not really what I was intending. And then she like looks at him. Like there's this pause, and she's like, well, what do you know? You're just the author. And she walked away. What do you know? You're just the author. And she walked away. And she kept her interpretation, even though it was his book. I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, let's see. Where else are we now in chat? Tindereos, you say a lot of people get that with music. Oh yeah, dude, all the time. All the time. You'll be listening to a song, and your buddy will be like, dude, this song is about X, Y, and Z, and you're sitting there listening to it, and you're like, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with X, Y, and Z. This song is not about like about love. It's about like shooting dope or something, right? you never know, right? Chad guy's got a lot of interesting questions. By the way, how's your internet doing today, man? I know you said your internet was messing up last night during the stream, and like it's been on the fritz lately. Is it doing better lately today at least? Chad guy, you say, would I rather be fighting in D-Day or be a Japanese citizen in Nagasaki and Hiroshima during the nuclear bomb? Well, I definitely wouldn't want to be a Japanese citizen that's getting nuked to death. That's got to be like one of the worst experiences in the world. I mean, I guess it depends. If you died from the bomb or just died like later from the radiation poisoning, like I don't know. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be there. But fighting in D-Day, I mean, yeah, I'd rather be fighting in D-Day. I mean, you never know too. Like, there's all sorts of wiggle room with that, right? The way you phrase a question, like I could think, yeah, I'd be fighting in D-Day. Like I'd be like, in like fighting like a rooster or something, or like a chicken or something, and like killing a chicken. I'd be fighting with the chicken, right? And then it's like I don't have to worry about all the other ethical implications of that question. Oh man! All right, so we've done Puzzle Rush. We've already done Puzzle Rush. We've already done a game of chess. So we're going to be getting to meditation soon, actually. We got some philosophy of science on tap. By the way, this is a great book. This book it contains articles from some of my favorite philosophers of science of all time. So Karl Popper, Thomas Kuhn, Lakatos, Thagard, Roos, and Larry Lawton. These are big names. These are not fuck arounds in the philosophy world. Quine, Pierre Duhem. Yeah, this is a great book. I would love to reread all these articles again. I've just been kind of going through and just picking the ones that look interesting to me at the moment. But it would be good to just go through the whole thing again. All right, let's see. Tindereos, you say, once a girl said that the singer used a specific silly word, looked it up, wasn't true, sent her the link, and she still did not believe you. That's funny. That is funny. That cracks me up. Man. Yeah, well, that's happened to me, though. It's happened to me. Dude, there was in Nine Inch Nails' Hurt, right? In that song, he's like, I will lay you down, I will let you. No. What do you say? There was one part where I thought he was saying something different for like 5 years. Oh yeah, my empire of dirt, right? He's like, and my empire of dirt, right? I thought he was saying darts for some fucking reason. Maybe because I was like a little kid and like didn't know any better, but like I thought he was saying darts, and I was like going around like singing like my empire of darts, which doesn't even make any fucking sense, right? It's absurd. All right, let's see. Tindereos, you say, internet got better. Cool. Yeah, you and Chad Guy, both of you were having messed up internet. Chad Guy, you say, speaking with chickens, there was a cockfighting raid in LA the other day. Whoa, cops found lots of dead roosters and dogs? And this is in LA. This is not like in the deep south where you would expect that to happen. Like that's crazy for that to be going on in LA. Moderately sized phallus. Welcome in, and thank you so much for the hydrate. I need to drink some water, and I need to fill up this water. This is good stuff. All right, I'm gonna go fill up my water. I'll be right back. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right, we are back. My water is full, and we're good to go. And I drank some water. Moderately sized phallus is how's it going with your philosophy reading? I know it's been like it's not too long since we talked, but I hope you're finding it interesting. Philosophy of science is one of the areas that I really like. When I was in grad school for philosophy, the three areas that I was most involved in were philosophy of mind, metaphysics, and philosophy of science. I was really drawn to those areas of philosophy. But Aristotle, on the other hand, is an ethics guy. So if you have ethics questions, go to him. You can ask me stuff, but it's been a while since I got my master's, so I haven't been using it on a regular basis. But I still remember some stuff. Okay, let's see. Tindereos, you say, or JT, you said, sing it, Agni. Yeah, I did sing a little bit, right? I did sing a little bit. Tindereos, you say, well, it was a German song, but nobody uses the word she thought it is. Yeah, okay. Well, there you go, right? There you go. Taylor, you say, what? There was a raid here in LA? Yeah, in LA. That's crazy. LA for chickens. That's like when does that happen, right? LA is not the place where you'd find that. If you had to ask me the three places you'd find that, I would be pointing to the deep south, some very rural community, in the deep south, not like LA. It's a bizarre thing, right? So yeah, I always come out here and I'm full of energy and intensity and light and love, and then we slow things down. And we go to the place of peace and oneness. in our hearts so that we may feel more centered, relaxed, and peaceful throughout our days. Find a comfortable seated position. You can sit on the floor in lotus pose. You can sit cross-legged. Or you can sit in a chair. The main thing is to find a position that is comfortable for you. And then gently close your eyes and focus on taking slow, deep breaths. I have a Buddhist chant that I play that has a chime that rings every 2 seconds. And you can use it to help regulate your breath count. Take a few more slow, deep breaths on your own. While maintaining good posture. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. Exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in through your nose, slowly raising your abdomen. Breathe out through your mouth, slowly lowering your abdomen. Focus on your breath. Inhale, raising your belly. Exhale, lowering your belly. Breathe in, raising your abdomen. Breathe out, lowering your abdomen. Keep your awareness on your breath count. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your breath calms your body, and your body calms your mind. Be mindful of your breath count. Visualize yourself sitting on the tallest mountain peak. Watching the clouds move through the sky beneath you. Two clouds float together and merge into one. And one cloud stretches apart, dividing into two. These clouds float through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. These clouds are like your thoughts. Thoughts come into being and exist for a while in conscious awareness before disappearing from your mind. That is the nature of human thought. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your breath calms your body, and your body calms your mind. Be mindful of your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds floating through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. And return your awareness to your breath. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Keep your awareness on your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds moving through the sky before disappearing from conscious awareness, and return your focus to your breath. Your essence is love. Your love is manifested as light. Your purpose is to shine your light on others. Awakening the inner light within them. And they will shine their light on all whom they encounter. With love and light spreading like wildfire throughout human consciousness. And all of humanity will reunite as one once again. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eye sight. Be mindful of your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, picture them as clouds, moving through the sky before disappearing from your mind, and return your awareness to your breath. On your next breath, travel down beneath the level of conscious awareness. Go to the region of your heart chakra. Feel the love which emanates from this location. Along with the warmth which surrounds your love. Experience the perfect peace which resides here. And the joy which accompanies it. For in this place, you are one with the divine. In this place, you are home. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit to you. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which hinders your evolution. Focus on your breath. When thoughts arise in your mind, picture them as clouds floating through the sky before disappearing over the horizon. Your breath is life. Stay focused on your breath. On your next breath, travel down to your center point. The place located at the centermost point of your essence. Feel the love which emanates from this location. And the warmth which surrounds your love. In this place, you exist in a state of pure monism. Concepts and categories are not welcome here. Boundaries and divisions cannot exist within this space. For what is eternally one can never be two. In this place, love flows from the source of all creation. In this place, you reside. focus on your center point. And when you're ready, travel through. I'll see you on the other side. At your center point, you remember your true identity. At your center, you recall how you came to be. Here, at your center point, you remember your divine essence. To spread love and light on all those whom you encounter. Inhale, traveling deeper into your center. Exhale, releasing all stress and tension from your body. Breathe in, traveling deeper still to your center point. Exhale, releasing all stress and tension from your mind. On your next breath, experience the perfect monism that exists here. Stay in this place where fear cannot enter. Division of any kind is not possible here. For here you are one with all creation. Slow down your breathing and go deeper. Slow down your breath. Quiet your mind and travel deeper still. All the way back to your eternal home. Your home shines with the most radiant light imaginable. Filling every nook and cranny. Darkness of any kind cannot enter here. For that which is fully lit can never conceal. No shadows can reside in this place. No hate or envy can exist here. For here you are complete. And whole once again. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all existential angst from your being. Breathe in. Breathe out, letting go of all fear and worry from your mind. Inhale, filling your vessel with love and light. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Gently open your eyes and return to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of your day. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this sacred space with me. I am honored and humbled to be here with you as your meditation guide. I hope you all feel more peace, love, and light in your lives. And I hope that you're able to take the tool of meditation out with you into the world and use it when you're stressed and lose your cool. All right, that was a 38-minute meditation. And that felt good. It felt right to me. How was that for everyone? I feel a lot more calm and peaceful than I did before the meditation. Anyone who saw me before the meditation saw what kind of energetic state I was in. And then after the meditation, we get all that yoga vibe, that Zen vibe, right? Feels good. Thank you all so much. JT, thank you. Chad guy, you say I look very serious. Agni looks very serious. I'm a very serious guy about some things, and some things I'm not very serious about, right? I like to joke around and have fun. But at the end of the day, I'm here in a teaching capacity. I want to help people meditate. I want to help teach meditation to people so they can find more peace and love in their lives. So that's the main focus. That's always been the main focus of this channel. And even though I do chess and philosophy and all sorts of other things, it's still the peace, love, and light of the meditation that I feel is the thrust of this stream. Moderately sized phallus. You say, hope you can join one of these eventually. Yeah, that would be cool, man. That would be cool. I'm sorry. Was it? I believe it was your pronoun was male. Is that correct? I can't recall. I think Aristotle might have asked you in this stream. Petey, you say wonderful meditation. Well, thank you so much, Petey. Much appreciated. Feedback is always so important. I want to make sure I'm able to connect with people and that people are enjoying what I have to offer. I want to be able to. These meditations are for you. These meditations are for everyone out there in the world who wants to participate. Right? I'm here because of you, because I like you and I love everyone unconditionally, and I want to share the love that I found inside of me with everyone. Because why else be a human being, right? If you can't connect with people, if you can't share love and kindness with them, all the other pursuits are pretty worthless in comparison, right? I mean, if you spend your whole life, oh, hey, Cosmic Happiness. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the community. Yeah, we're just good. We just got done with a guided meditation, and now we're just doing a little post-meditation talk. We're going to be reading from one of the greatest books ever written, the Tao Te Ching. Pretty soon we're going to read verse 18, and we're going to be doing some chakra balancing. I was in a chakra balancing group years ago, and we used this book to cleanse our chakras. We've been going through that book, and we're on chakra number 2, the water chakra. So yeah, welcome in. Nice, yeah. I do all sorts of I stream all sorts of content. I'm a chess instructor in real life, so I stream chess streams as well. I mix that in. I've already played some chess today. And then I also I have a master's in analytic philosophy. So I stream philosophy streams where we discuss philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics. Those are the 3 areas that have always interested me the most. I've always found them the most amazing, basically. Yeah, so that's what we do here. So welcome in. And then we also do other stuff, like we've been going through. I've been reading one Grimm's fairy tale a night to kind of close down the stream. And I've been mixing it up. When I first started streaming 16 months ago, I pretty much only did guided meditations. But I've decided that I have more to offer than just meditation. Some people come for the chess and like the chess. Some people come for the philosophy. Some people come because they want to, hang out and chat and talk and have a good time. We really have a good community of people here. I'm truly blessed to have such a wonderful group of people that come here and hang out. All right. Let's see. Cosmic Happiness, you say you are making very philosophical game, you would like to think. Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to elaborate a little more, like what kind of game. That's interesting. Let's see. Petey, you say last night's Wordle comeback was epic. It was looking sketchy, but I really turned around. Yeah, right? I mean, Wordle is crazy, right? I think the first 2 words, I only knew that there was an I in it. I think that was it. Yeah, all I got for the first 2 guesses was that there was an I in it, I think. And that was tough. That was a tough one, but it worked out. Like I said, for some reason, Wordle seems to usually work out. There have only been 2 instances ever when I didn't solve it. The first one was the first time I played because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the rules of the game. And then the second time was when I didn't know a letter could be used more than once. So there was a word with 2 of the same letter, and I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know it could be used more than once. But ever since then, I've been getting them every time. Let's see, Cosmic, you say it's a role-playing game about utopia, dystopia, balance. Ooh, nice. That sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. By the way, I really like your name, Cosmic Happiness. That's a really awesome name. It's beautiful. That's so cool that you're creating your own RPG. Like, I envy people who have that kind of skill and ability to create their own role-playing game like that. Think of how much work that requires, and to make it enjoyable and balanced and fun and not too crazy, not too difficult, not too long. I mean, you always gotta do a lot to get everything in balance, right? You say it's pretty rough, not gonna lie. Yeah, but I mean, that's how anything starts. Here, this is actually a good story. So I'm a big fan of the band 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor's always been one of my heroes, and I used to do a lot of poetry. I'm also a poet. I'm a fire poet, and I had some fear about sharing my poetry. I was like, I don't know, is my poetry good enough? I don't know if I should do it. Is it a joke, right? Are people just going to think it's a joke and walk away, right? So one day I was over at my buddy's house, and we pulled up a band that Trent Reznor was in prior to 9 Inch Nails, and it was hold that thought 1 second. Tara Time is here. Hello, Tara Time. Tara Time is an amazing fitness and health streamer on Twitch. She's also the emote queen. When she comes into chat, the emotes go wild everywhere. She's got the best emote game in town. She's also a fantastic dancer, incredibly knowledgeable personal trainer from Argentina. Go to her channel. You will have fun. She makes working out fun. Wonderful human being. How are you doing today, Tara Time? So good to have you in. I'm always so excited. I went to your stream today. I go to your stream, and you had literally just ended that second. The split second I went there, you ended. I was so disappointed. I even had the redeem cat command ready to go. It was all typed in. I was just waiting for it to... I saw 2 ads, and then it was going to load, and then it would just ended. I was so disappointed. I missed it just by a second. But yeah, anyways, check out Terror Time. But yeah, anyways, getting back to what I was saying. So I watched one of Trent Reznor, his first band, Option 22, I believe it was called. And it was such a joke. This band, the Trent's band was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. He had the 80s hair, and he was doing the head thing, like they did in the 80s, and he just looked. The music was like really off and weird, and everything just sounded so weird. It sounded like a high school garbage band, right? And I was like, if Trent Reznor, if the great Trent Reznor could, started out as a total joke, and then another one of my favorite musicians, Maynard James Keenan, who's the frontman of Tool and Pussifer and Perfect Circle, his first band was also a total joke. So it's like, if these guys started out with terrible bands that everyone just kind of like laughed at and thought were garbage, then you know what? I'm going to come out and speak my poetry. I'm going to use my voice, right? And so I came out and I started sharing my poetry, and then people loved it. I got an amazing response, and everyone wanted to hear more and more. And then I was even featured to do my poetry in a couple shows on the Dear John show. Like an excellent poet from England came on and read some of my poetry a couple times, and it was amazing. And I had such an overwhelmingly positive response. But yeah, just seeing Trent and Maynard's early work made me realize that, hey, at the beginning you're probably not going to be good when you first start out at something. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think. You just gotta put it out there, and then you get better as time goes on. Taylor, hey, hello. That's right. Yeah, Taylor, you're into the cow redemption in Terror Times channel. I always redeem the cat. Sometimes I redeem the cow. Terror Times got the best things to say. When you redeem that. When you redeem the cat, she's always like, "Where's the cat? Where's the cat?" It's perfect, right? Totally on point. It's like the perfect thing. And when you redeem the cow, she'll get defensive and be like, "Are you calling me a cow? I am not a cow." So that's what you say, Terry. You say, "I am not a cow. I am not a cow. Why would you call me a cow?" By the way, Terror Time gets a hug. Terror Time is like the one person on here that I give a hug to. So Terry, welcome. I'm hugging you. I'm holding you right now. You're in bed, right? I'm holding you. My energy is holding you, Terry. I hope you felt that. I hope you felt that warmth and love come through the screen, right? Because you typically watch me in bed, right? Assuming you're like not at the farm or something, right? That felt good. I felt your energy, Terry. You're pretty. You have the intense Argentinian energy, right? It's exciting. You have the exciting energy. I consider you a very exotic person. Okay. Let's see. Cosmic, you say, "Sorry, your router rebooted." Yeah. No worries. Let's see. Yeah, that's always amazing. Yeah, it is amazing when someone starts out like, making something, and people are like laughing at their artwork, and then they become some of the masters, in the field. I always think it's wonderful. Okay, let's do a quick puzzle rush. This will be 3 minutes. So Puzzle Rush is a game I play on chess.com. I have 3 minutes to solve as many puzzles as I can. My high score ever is 29. When I stream, I'm usually happy if I can get in the 20s at all. I got 20 last time, which I'm happy for as far as streaming. Let's see if I can get higher than that this time, or at least 20 again. All right, I got to load this up though. I got to load it up. So let me get this. Okay, everyone should be able to see it now. Yeah, Terry, I'm always grateful to be able to have you here to hug. So let me it all should be all good. All right, we're ready. Let's do this. Okay, Puzzle Rush. Most of these are like checkmate puzzles or win material puzzles. That's checkmate in 3, and then we have checkmate in 3, and then we have checkmate in 2, and then we have that mate, and then we have this mate, and then we have this mate, and then we have check, sack the queen, and mate, and then we have, oh, duh, win the rook with the fork, and then, no, this idea first. Oh, then mate, there we go. Mate, mate, check, sack the queen, oops, mate, check, sack the queen, mate, check, sack the queen. Common theme. That happened many times in a row there. That was weird. Whoa, a lot of check, sack, sack the queen and mate. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. That's pretty interesting. All right, what's going on here? And they get more difficult as you progress. So like I think it's this, yep, and then this, yep, and then this idea, and then this. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, I'm white here. All right. That changes things. All right, that's the problem of not having the sound. It makes it more difficult to know. Wait, hold on, I got this, mate, to know what color you're supposed to be here. Let's see. This is tricky. Not seeing this one. So this is the first one that's given me a problem. I guess just this. And oh yeah, this. Oh no. Okay, I messed that up a little. All right, as if you didn't know. Let's go with this, and then we'll do that. And then what's the fob? Oh, this. You win the rook at the end of it. That was pretty cool. So this one, you'd think you're just going to grab the rook, but you don't because you want checkmate. It's not about winning the rook. It's about winning the game. Okay, so what's going on here? Do I just take the bishop? No. What am I missing here? Maybe it is just take the bishop. Yeah, just take a bishop when you can, I guess, you know. What's the deal here? Just this? What? Hold on, something's up here. Oh, do I just block? I block. Yeah. Oh no. Ah, all right. That was a mistake. All right, I can only mess up one more time. And now everything's getting real tough. This is I only got 6 seconds. Let's this. Okay, well 23. I got 23. That's really good for when I stream. When I stream, my attention is divided. I don't hear the sounds because if I plug headphones in, I have a weird issue with this microphone. So that was good. I'm happy with the 23 to start out. Okay, all right. Let's do a reading from the Tao Te Ching. This is Lao Tzu's masterpiece. We are on verse 18. I need some light for this so I can see. Oh, and by the way, I got my bananas here. They don't look very good because they're brown. But these are okay bananas, actually. This is like the last day. Here's the thing. I store my bananas in the fridge. And if you store them in the fridge, the outside of the banana, it goes brown quicker if you store it in the fridge, but the inside stays good longer. Most people don't know that. Most people are like, yeah, I would never put my bananas in the fridge because they go bad quick, you know. But no, it's just the outer peel that goes bad quick. The inside, actually, you get a couple more days out of them. Yeah, banana boom. I like it, Terry. Yeah, so we're gonna do a reading now from one of the greatest books ever written. If we're gonna read a book, we might as well read a book that's been around for 2,000 years and is incredible. All right, verse 18. There's 81 verses in Lao Tzu's masterpiece. One who possesses virtue in abundance is comparable to a newborn babe. Poisonous insects and snakes will not sting it. Predatory birds and ferocious animals will not pounce on it. Its bones are weak, and its sinews supple, yet its hold is firm. It does not know of the union of male and female yet. Its male member will stir. This is because its virility is at its height. To know harmony is called the norm. To know the norm is called discernment. To try to add to one's vitality is called ill-omened. For the mind to dictate to one's chi is called violent. A creature old in its prime is known as being contrary to the way. That which is contrary to the way will come to an early end. Ooh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's a good passage. That's a good verse. Let's read through it again so we can get a good grasp of it, and then we'll do a little discussion on it. Petey, you say, nice. You had a brown fridge banana earlier. You do the same thing. Most people hate it. Most people hate the idea. They're like, no, you should never store your bananas in the fridge. But it actually keeps the bananas better longer. So, people freak out though. They freak out when they see the brownness. They're like, oh, it's got to be bad. We might as well just throw it in the garbage. And they don't peel it open and look, They're judging a book by its cover, I guess you could say. All right, let's read this one more time. One who possesses virtue in abundance is comparable to a newborn babe. Poisonous insects and snakes will not sting it. Predatory birds and ferocious animals will not pounce on it. Its bones are weak, and its sinews supple, yet its hold is firm. It does not know of the union of male and female yet its male member will stir. This is because its virility is at its height. It howls all day without having to struggle for breath. This is because its harmony is at its height. To know harmony is called the norm. To know the norm is called discernment. To try to add to one's virility is called ill-omened. For the mind to dictate to one's chi is called violent. A creature old in its prime is known as being contrary to the way. That which is contrary to the way will come to an early end. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so basically what Lao Tzu is saying here is that if you possess a lot of virtue, then you're similar to that newborn babe that comes into the world, right? You have a certain level of defense, right? You have a certain level of safety, right? You're okay, because if you know the way is the Tao. If you know the way, then you're not going to be harmed, basically, because you're in flow. You're in the flow of things. You're in that perfect flow mindset, and you're gonna be safe. And then he goes on to say, this is because its virility is at its height. It howls all day without having to struggle for breath. This is because its harmony is at height. Yeah, if you're in the flow, like you can do some amazing things. To know harmony is called the norm. To know the norm is called discernment. To try to add to one's vitality is called ill-omened. Now that part is kind of interesting. I think what he's saying here is that we already have enough vitality. We already have that perfect love within us. So when we're going out seeking externally for someone to tell us, that we're good or that we're amazing, or when we're seeking externally for a gratification or for happiness, we're looking in the wrong place. We're not looking within to that place of pure love within us already. And then he goes on to say, a creature old in its prime is known as being contrary to the way. Yeah, you don't want to be like, 20 years old and like feel like a 90-year-old dude, right? That which is contrary to the way will come to an early end. Yeah, if you're constantly out there looking for something to make you happy, you're seeking for joy and happiness in all the wrong locations. You're not looking at for it in the correct spot, right? Okay, and that is Lao Tzu's masterpiece. Let's see. I've been streaming 2 hours. we got to get a little chakra balancing in. And I think this is a nice segue into this book. Great book for chakra balancing. Who doesn't want their chakras balanced? Who doesn't want their chakras balanced? This is the book that we use. Tara Time's chakras are balanced. She might have a little too much of the libido going, though. You never know. You never know with Tara Time. Could there be too much? I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing. She's got a good flow going. You can see it in her dance too. When she dances, you can tell she's feeling the movement. Speaking of we're speaking of movement now. We're actually going to go into blockages. We're going to go into blockages. All right. So let's see what happens when your water chakra gets blocked. Blocked emotions repress movement and restrict the flow of energy through the second chakra and through the body as a whole. Emotional work is the process of recovering lost feelings, bringing them to life again, experiencing them, and resolving them. Unfortunately, emotional work is not always pleasurable. Well, that's for sure, right? Those of us who've had like major traumatic experiences in our lives, I mean, it's not pleasurable at all to try to go through and process all that and deal with it and cope. I mean, it's one of the most difficult things, and that's why people a lot of times shy away from that, right? They don't want to go into those areas of pain and sorrow within their psyche, right? They don't want to go in there. They want to try to distract themselves from it and not have to deal with it. If a feeling was repressed at one time, it may have been painful, and re-experiencing it is a painful process. We feel vulnerable again, sad, angry, or afraid. Once we express and release the emotion, the body's energy is no longer fixated or contracted around that pain, and can expand again into a state of pleasure. Ease and further growth are the result of clearing the body of blocked emotions. The removal of pain increases the capacity for pleasure. I think that's totally true, right? If you're in a lot of pain, if you're in a lot of, like my lower back has been hurting me for a while. It's finally starting to get better, but when I was really in a lot of back pain, like it's hard to feel joy about other things. It's hard to feel pleasure in other areas, right? When you're always like focusing on the pain, on a certain pain within you. Getting in touch with buried emotions often requires the help of an experienced therapist, or at the very least, a trusted friend. We are by nature blind to our repressed material. Getting the feedback that we seem angry or depressed can help us make deeper contact. It is important when expressing feelings, especially difficult ones, that we have a listener who is non-judgmental, who does not argue about our right to be angry or sad, but who is willing to merely witness and sympathize. Reclaiming the right to feel is one of the tasks of the second chakra, and we need a helper who can assist with this. So you need a good friend, right? You need a good friend or buddy or loved one to help you walk through, or just to run your ideas by, maybe to vent to, right? The goal of healing the second chakra is to have a healthy flow of emotional energy through the body, to be able to fully experience pleasure through movement and sexuality, and to be able to experience change and enhancement as a result of connecting with concepts, people, and events that are different from our own baseline of reality. Ooh, all right. So they want to take us. They want us to communicate with other people and then basically get a different perspective, right? Awesome, cool. Hey, Aristotle's here. Oh, wow. Awesome, dude. You snuck in, man. You snuck in, dude. Welcome in, dude. You're a sneaky guy. Aristotle is a sneaky guy, dude. Good to see you. Aristotle is an awesome streamer here on Twitch. He's got a PhD in philosophy and is literally a philosophy professor. Super awesome, kind human being. You come to his chat, check him out, drop him a follow. You come to Aristotle's chat, you're going to smile, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry probably at some point. Maybe not. I don't know. Aristotle, do people ever cry in your chat? Sometimes people whine. I've heard people whine in your chat before. Usually not too much crying. More smiling and laughing, right? Anyways, go there, drop him a follow, and ask some questions about philosophy. He'll also treat you with respect. That's the cool thing. I always say that about him because it's the case. No one ever comes in and asks a philosophy question, and he just completely is like, oh, you're an idiot. He meets you where you're at. So good dude. Check him out. Let's see, Aristotle, you say, let's see. That's very Epicurean. Hold on a second. That's very Epicurean. They thought the upper limit of pleasure was the removal of all pain. It is. It's funny. It's funny how a lot of these like chakra balancing and a lot of the newer like spiritual holistic scenes have embraced like ideas from the pre-Socratics, and have just taken that in and brought it into their belief system. And they usually use now to be honest, a lot of times it's used in like ways that were totally not intended in the original philosophy, right? They're like they take things out of context sometimes. You'll see people do this with quantum mechanics, right? Everyone's always like entanglement is the secret to all spirituality, right? And it's like, what? Do you even know what entanglement is? It's like, what? Go to Fermi Lab and talk with one of the physicists there and see if your scientific if your holistic theory of entanglement is really going to hold up with some Fermi Lab physicists, right? Speaking of which, that's actually one of the coolest things that I saw about David Chalmers. David Chalmers went to Fermi Lab when he was writing a paper on philosophy of science, on physics, and he ran it by all the physicists there because he wanted to get their perspective. He was like, what? I don't know anything about physics. He came there. He's like, I don't know much about physics, so just I'm gonna read this, and I'm assuming you're gonna just tell me I'm wrong about everything. And he gave his presentation, and afterwards they were like, no, you did a good job, man. There's a couple things a couple loose ends you need to tie up, and there's this one concept that you don't really have a perfect understanding of, but overall Chalmers understands physics, right? But yeah, so yeah. Anyways, a lot of times spirituals, people in holistic scenes don't take those scientific concepps and employ them, or philosophical concepts and employ them in the ways that they were actually originally intended to be employed. But usually it doesn't really matter that much from a utilitarian standpoint, right? From a matter of utility, they usually holistic people are there to try to help anyway. They're trying to make people feel more love and joy in their lives. So it's like, whatever, it might not line up with capital T objective truth, but at least it's it's trying to help the people around you, right? That's kind of how I view it. In this book though, I feel like they do have some concepts that do link up pretty well. I feel like they've at least read the texts, of some of these philosophers, right? Some of these old school philosophers, right? They haven't just read it on some website and posted it, right? All right. So where are we at? Aristotle, you were here for Lao Tzu too. Yeah, Lao Tzu, man, he's incredible. He's incredible. He's deep, right? He's deep, and this work has been around so long. I mean, if I usually that's one sign of a good read in my mind. If it can last thousands of years, right? If something, and I said this the other day, if something can last a couple thousand years, I mean, it's usually got at least some appeal on some level, right? It's not going to be the worst book ever written. All right. Aristotle, you say rarely. Sometimes we touch on serious stuff. You missed the context that. Chad, your internet crashed again. Dude, what is going on with your internet, man? You gotta get this problem resolved, dude. You're paying extra for this high speed shit, so you're paying extra for high speed internet, and it's just gonna keep crashing. You have an argument, man. You should call up I don't know who your provider is, but you might have to call them up and yell at them. Sometimes that helps, and sometimes it doesn't. Aristotle, you say I go back and forth on Lao Tzu. It's poetic and beautiful, but you just feel weird about non-acting in the face of injustice. Yeah, I mean the whole notion of less is more, of non-action, right? Of doing less is sometimes going to produce much more profound results than doing more. It's a tough concept, especially for us Westerners, right? I mean, we're always taught like more is better, right? We always got to do more. What more can we do? Let's acquire more things. Let's be better people. Let's constantly fight to get more and more and more, and to do all these things, right? That's like so ingrained in the Western psyche, right? The more Eastern notion of like stepping back and being passive and being a passive vessel can have such a tremendous amount of value too, though, right? It's like what they were saying in the Chakra balancing book, actually, right? If you're a friend and if you want to be a friend to someone and they're like stressing out, they're freaking out about something, and you're sitting there telling them, no, you shouldn't feel that way. That's a terrible way to feel. If you're not and you're like talking like over them, that's not being a good friend. A lot of times you just got to be there and you just got to sit and listen to what they have to say, and just your presence, just being there with them, is going to have a much more profound effect than actually like spouting off like a million words and being loquacious and whatnot, right? You want to just be there for them, right? So in that kind of instance, less is definitely more. Now, yeah, I'm sure if there's a kid drowning in the water, I don't think Lao Tzu would be committed to saying, hey, you have to let him drown. You shouldn't reach your hand in there and pull him up, right? I don't think he would ever take that line, right? But he would say something like, if there's if there's two people like in an argument, you might stay out of it. Maybe it's better for you to stay out of it and let them argue, right? Or let them debate, right? Or I don't know. I guess and the other thing to remember too is that Lao Tzu was definitely as far from like an analytic philosopher as possible, right? So like back then they were more, and he was a poet, so they use more figurative language and imagery and things like that. So you can't really hold them to the same standards of like an analytic, a 20th century like analytic philosopher, right? Okay. Anyways, let's get back to everything. Chad guy, you say, sorry guys, it came off a bit entitled something. Sorry guys, this came off a bit entitled. Cool. No, hey, it didn't come off entitled at all. You're paying for extra for high speed internet. It doesn't come off sounding entitled to me. You're just stating a fact. You're stating a fact to your friends in the chat. I don't see that as entitled. Aristotle, you say, you go, oh no, let's see. No, we already went there. Okay. All right, good. All right. And then Chad guy, you say you have a Spectrum. All right, I don't even know Spectrum Internet. Is that a California thing? I have Comcast. It's just like the standard in Illinois and the Midwest. I think it's pretty solid. They like to fuck me around though. I always have to, like, whenever there's an issue, or like my year like subscription is up and I have to like renew. They always want to jerk me around, and then I have to call them up and like fight with them a little bit, and it's always frustrating a little bit. But then it always works out. I mean, I'm paying very little for my internet right now, and I got high speed internet, and it's great. Last time I called up, like I talked with like they first said I needed a new modem, and they're like, okay, it's going to be free. I got like all these emails saying that it's going to be free, and I needed to get a new modem from them. Right, they were going to give me a free one, so I was like, fine, whatever, I'll use your modem. And then every time I called them, they're like, no, it's gonna cost you money. It's gonna cost you like $100 for this modem. And I'm like, what the fuck? All my emails say it's free, and they're like, no, well, that's not the case. And so I just kept calling, and then like I think the third or fourth time I called, I even went into the shop too, and they said the same thing. I'm gonna have to pay this money, and it's not the case that it's gonna be free. So then I just kept calling. Third or fourth call I made, when I finally actually got a hold of the right person, he's like, oh, I'll tell you what, the modem's actually gonna be free, and I'm going to lower your rate. You want cheaper internet? I was like, dude, who is this guy, man? Like, this is like the best contact ever in Comcast. Like, the guy literally was offering to give me cheaper internet. Like, how often do you call a company and you're like, hey, I want to, renew my subscription for X amount of dollars, and they're like, well, you could renew it, but how about we give it to you for cheaper, and it's the same service? And it was incredible. So he gave me the free modem and the same service. So, but and all the other people were trying to like charge me way extra, right? It was pretty crazy, right? All right, okay. I think it's time for another chess game. We're gonna do a random game on Lee chess. This could be a grandmaster. It could be a complete noob. I'm a chess instructor, IRL. So let's see how this goes. This last game, the guy blundered his... Here, Last game, the guy he blundered his knight right here, and then he just resigned. So it was a quick game. So let's start a new one up. Create a game. I play anonymously, all right? Looks good. You can all see the screen, and we're good to go. All right. Ooh, interesting. All right, we got this idea. I'm looking to play knight out, bishop over, maybe this idea. All right, let's do this. If he takes, I just recapture like this. He's going in for this, so take. Fianchetto my bishop. Take. So now the idea is, okay, he castled. Yeah, he was smart to castle there. Otherwise, I would have had my light square bishop. This is still a good square. Let's throw a punch. I'm throwing a punch at the rook. He's going to move over here. And then I'll get my knight out. And then I'll castle kingside. I also am looking to play rook over. He's just going to do that? He's just going to leave his rook here? All right, I'll take it. If you want to give up your 5-point piece for my 3-point piece, that's cool with me, man. I'm down with that. Now it's just simple. I'm just going to develop my knight, castle, get my rook to b8. I'll be putting pressure on this pawn right here, right? His bishop won't be able to stray too far. Yeah, he just left. He left. He couldn't take it. All right, there we go. I'm claiming victory. Yeah, he couldn't handle me winning his rook. And that's how you play chess, everyone. That's how you play. So everyone should know about chess, right? Everyone now knows how to win at chess. Aristotle, next time you play chess, you will win because you'll just do that exact same sequence. I hope you memorize that variation. Terry Time, really bedtime for you, lovely friend. See you next time. Stay strong. Bye, Terry Time. Thank you so much for being here. It was so great that you popped in. I can't wait to check out your next stream, Terry Time. Definitely check her out. Drop her a follow. Namaste. Hope all is well. Have a good night's sleep. All right. Aristotle, you say you finished Queen's Gambit. It kind of sucked. You hope they don't make more seasons. I know, but like I was saying last time, everyone fucking lost their shit over that show. Everyone's like, oh my God, Queen's Gambit is the best thing ever. But you know what? All the little girls in the world were inspired to play chess, right? All of a sudden, every single, 8-year-old girl in the world wanted a chessboard. And it was a big deal, right? I hope they didn't let their kids watch all of it though. That's kind of weird to let 8-year-olds watch that whole show. I mean, there's some kind of weird, questionable things, but I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to let your kids watch that kind of stuff nowadays. I don't know what people are allowed to show their kids. Namaste, Terry. Namaste. All right, so we did chess. We've done chakra balance. Okay, so guided meditation, check. Puzzle rush, check. Sevenfold Journey, chakra balancing, check. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching, check. Good communication and chat, check. We've done some philosophy earlier. We did where are we at here? I think we're at Grimm's Fairy Tales time. I think we're ready for Grimm's Fairy Tales. I think we're about at that point. Aristotle, you say if chess led me to money and promiscuity, you'd play it. The top 20 guys, the top 20 chess players in the world are making great money. They get laid a lot, all right? They get laid a lot, and actually, I don't know. Maybe they don't. But they make good money. That's all I can vouch for. I know they make good money. I'm pretty sure Magnus Carlsen doesn't have any problems getting women. All right, he's like the Norwegian stud, And I think it's kind of cool that the world champion since 2013 was Norwegian, because Norway's a bunch of badasses, right? Norway. Think about all the 90% of all metal bands come out of Norway, right? They're like a solid country, man. I want to go to Norway and just hang out. I have a friend. One of my friends. So I have a cool story. I think I don't know if I've told you this before, but. So one of my favorite bands is a band called Winds, Winds, and the guy that created the band, he's the keyboardist of the band. He writes the parts for all the instruments and does all the vocals and everything. He actually, I was friends with him on Facebook. We didn't really talk or anything. I just sent him a friend request and he accepted it, right? And one day he said, "I'm ready for some chess. Who's up for playing?" And I was like, I'm a chess instructor. You want to play? So I'm playing one of my favorite musicians of all time in chess. It was crazy, right? So the first game, I come out and I fucking smoke him. And like he gets pissed. He gets like really like pissed. He's like, all right. And he buckles down, this Norwegian guy, and he's ready to fight, right? He comes back the next game and it's a brawl. I mean, we're just throwing punches, we're battling back and forth. And he ends up winning that game, right? It was getting serious, right? So then I come back the next game, and I'm like on fire because I'm like, dude, I want to take down Andy Winter, man. This guy, I'm gonna take down this guy, dude. This guy's like my favorite musician, second or third favorite musician of all time. And so I come back and I win the third game, and then we're just like back and forth, and we're just brawling, and then we played some blitz games. And then it got to a point where he sent me I was like texting him. He gave me his phone number, and like, you know, he like texted me, and like so I got Andy Winter's phone number. It's pretty wild. I could call him up and be like, hey, when are you coming out with that new album, man? Or whatever, right? You know. But anyways, yeah, it got to a point where then one day he texted me and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I am done. My girlfriend says I can't play chess anymore. I've been, instead of making music all this time, I've just been absorbed in this game, and I was supposed to do all this work for the band Sculptured. You might know them, Aristotle. Sculptured. It's Don Anderson's band. I'm sure you've probably heard of Agalloch, right? Agalloch was one of the dudes or Don Anderson was one of the dudes from Agalloch, and he has another band called Sculptured. So Andy Winter was supposed to do this like big piano keyboard part, right? He was supposed to do all the keys for the album. They had the whole album done, and they were just waiting on Andy Winter to do it, and he wasn't doing it. And because he was playing chess with me, because he was like fucking around playing chess with me, he was so immersed in like trying to beat me, he wasn't even like doing his part. So finally, he just like quit playing chess. And he got that part out there, got it to Sculpture, and then they put it in their album. It was wild, man. I was holding up my favorite musician from making an album. It's pretty ridiculous, right? Like, I mean, that doesn't happen very often. Like, that'd be like going to Michael Jordan and being like, hey, dude, be like being the guy that got Jordan like really like, intense about baseball, and then like Jordan retires for like a few years and like comes and plays baseball, right? It's like, dude, you just like took away the best basketball player of all time, so he could like, pretty much suck at baseball. He was like a AAA player. He came up, for some games with the Sox, and I think he did hit like one homer in the majors, maybe two. They brought him up because he was a big draw. You bring Jordan to play baseball, you're gonna sell out your everything, every seat in the house, even if your team sucks, right? Let's see. Aristotle, you say you're 35. There's no way you could work to the top. Yeah, exactly. Same with me. This is crazy, but the only way you're gonna get to the top at chess is if you start playing. If you're like, 5, 6 years old. I mean, some guys start at like 3. It's crazy. But 5, 6 years old is about the cutoff. I think there's a few exceptions. There's a couple guys that started playing at age 7, and they were able to make it in like the top 20. But overall, after like 7, you're fucked. The thing is, your mind has to develop thinking about chess. And when your mind is young, it's malleable, and all your neural pathways and everything will develop in the way of like of seeing like the chessboard. So you'll be able to like visualize it. Like in Queen's Gambit, she was always looking at the ceiling, right? But chess players, like high level chess players, can visualize like all the shit in their head, right? Now I got a really late start in chess. I didn't learn how to play till I was 16. So there's no way I even ever had a chance of being like, a top chess player because there's too many years lost. I mean, guys that literally, like there's a guy, Daniel Naroditsky, right? He's a grandmaster. He's an incredible chess player, but he's not a super grandmaster. He's not one of like the top like 20 guys out there, right? And the reason being is because he took a few years off to go to college. He just took a few years off to go to college, and just that little time cost him the ability to actually reach Super GM. A lot of the Super GMs think that Naroditsky would have actually been one of the top GMs if he had actually not taken 4 years off to go to college, which is kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah. You're, by the way, in the chess world, if you're like I don't know, like 25 or like 30, people start like calling you old. Like if you're like 25 in the chess world, they're like, oh man, he might be past his prime. It's like, dude, the guy's like 25. Well, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'd say probably more like 35, but like it's still kind of crazy, right? That like in chess is, well, because here's what happens. You start slowing down as you get older. So like you'll see these guys, and a lot of times their classical rating will still be going up or still be really high, but their bullet rating will start going down. Bullet chess is like speed chess. Like you'll play like, games where you have like 1 minute to make all your moves, or like 30 seconds hyperbullet to make all your moves. So like their bullet rating will start going down, but their classical rating usually can hang up there for quite some time. But there's pretty much no one becomes a grandmaster after the age of 40. The only exception to that is a guy I know, Ben Feingold. He became a grandmaster at age 40 exactly. But he came from a chess family. His whole world was chess, and he was really close to becoming a grandmaster right when COVID hit. So he was delayed a couple of years, but he had the norms, I believe, to become a grandmaster. Okay, Grimm's Fairy Tales time, and I got the bananas here in case my hamstrings start cramping up. Those of you who don't know, bananas have lots of potassium. So, athletes like Taylor Jade and people like me who work out all the time, we need our potassium, or otherwise we can get crazy leg cramps. Like James said that year when he was cramping up in the playoffs, leg cramps are no joke, right? Anyways, Grimm's Fairy Tales time. This one is called The Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage. Ooh, I like this. And it's only 2 pages. This is only 2 pages, this whole story. The Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage. All right, let's place your bets. What do you think is, if you don't know this one, if you know it, don't place a bet. But what do you think is going to happen with the Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage? Let me make a poll. We got to make it interesting, though. Let's make the poll interesting. So I'll create a poll. So let's see. Got a poll going. So how about... is the mouse or bird going to get the sausage? All right. Mouse, the bird, and the sausage. So we'll say mouse, bird, sausage. Okay. Yeah, is the mouse or bird going to get the sausage? Mouse, bird, or sausage? Wait, no. The sausage can't get the sausage. It's actually kind of funny. I'm going to leave sausage in there, but let me move it. I want to put both. Yeah, dude. You say the sausage is going to win. Sausage. How about the sausage? I don't know, Aristotle, what do you think? Does the sausage get the sausage? That's a good question, right? I mean, I guess that hinges on your metaphysical assumptions about the nature of identity, right? I mean, I don't know. Does the sausage get the sausage? All right, let's vote. We have a 3-minute poll. No, it can't be 3 minutes. It's got to be 2 minutes because I'll be done reading in like 2 minutes. All right. Okay, vote. Everyone vote. Who's going to get the sausage? The mouse, the bird. Is the sausage going to get the sausage, or are both? I should have said all because now there's 3 people. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. All right. You know what? I have something awesome I want to do. There is a reading category. I want to change categories. People read books. People read books. I mean, this is not a fitness and health oriented thing. So what's it called? A reading fun, I think. Reading fun. It's called. All right. I'm going to read it. I'm now in the reading fun category. This is my debut in the reading fun category. It usually has like a total of 40 people hanging out in the entire category. There's usually like, a few streamers and like 40 people like total. So I'm going to this weird, bizarre category. Welcome in. If someone new comes in, like tell them what's going on. All right. Let's go to reading fun. All right. Anyways, the mouse, the bird, and the sausage. Once upon a time, a mouse and a bird and a sausage lived and kept house together in perfect peace among themselves and in great prosperity. It was the bird's business to fly to the forest every day and bring back wood. Dude, this bird is awesome. Like, how much wood can this bird carry? Like, that's a lot of wood for the bird. I guess like twigs and stuff, but like you need huge like logs and stuff, right? Well, maybe not because it's just a mouse. You just need to keep it warm for a mouse and a bird. I mean, like how much heat? How much heat do you really need for a mouse and a bird? Probably not much, right? To cook your food, but mice and birds don't even cook their food. So does this even make sense? Why the fuck are they even getting wood then? Well, what do you need? Oh, I guess to build your home, right? That makes sense. The mouse had to draw the water, make the fire. So the mouse did make a fire. Yeah, okay. So the mouse had to draw the water, make the fire, and set the table. and the sausage had to do the cooking. I like the fact that they put the sausage to work. It's important. It's important that the sausage is working, because you picture a sausage, you picture someone who's like being like lazy, right? They like don't want to cook, they don't want to go get the wood, they don't want to get the water right, they're just being a sausage, right? But the sausage here is working here, so that's awesome. So he's doing the cooking. Nobody is content in this world. Much will have more. One day the bird met another bird on the way and told him of his excellent condition in life. But the other bird called him a poor simpleton to do so much work, while the two others led easy lives at home. Ooh, so the other bird's like, dude, you're letting these two freeloaders just hang out at the house, and like, the sausage is just doing a little bit of cooking. And what'd they say the mouse was doing? Let's see. Well, the mouse was drawing the water, making the fire. Oh, no. Drawing the water, making the fire, and setting the table. Yeah, I think the other bird has a legitimate point, right? I mean, you got the sausage who's simply just doing cooking. Like, that's not a lot of contributing, right? That's not a great deal of contribution to the household, right? Just cooking, right? I mean, I don't know about that, right? But then you got the mouse. Now, the mouse is doing more. He's drawing the water, but I mean, I guess what? They got a well or something? He's drawing the water. That doesn't require a ton of work. Making the fire. I mean, the bird's out there getting the wood, so like he's just lighting something on fire, right? And he's setting the table takes like 30 seconds. I mean, how long does it take you to set a table for a mouse, a bird, and a sausage, right? That's quick, right? So like, yeah, I think this is a legitimate complaint. I mean, you know what? This guy's talking, this other bird has got some knowledge, he's got some real world knowledge. He's probably been taken advantage of at some point in his life by like, an overbearing wife or something who is like, saying, hey, you gotta do like all this, and I'm just gonna lay on the couch all day and like, eat like Haagen-Dazs, right? So he's probably had that experience. So now he's really focused in when other people are getting like taken advantage of, right? All right, and by that, that's nice of him. He didn't need to say that. Like, if you usually just come into contact with someone, you're usually not going to be like, hey, these two people that you've known for like all these years and that you live with are like assholes. They're taking advantage of you. Usually, you're just going to be like, oh, that's an interesting dynamic. All right. Anyways, when the mouse had made up her fire and drawn water, she went to rest in her little room until it was time to lay the cloth. The sausage stayed by the saucepans, looked to it that the victuals were well cooked, and just before dinner time he stirred the broth or the stew 3 or 4 times well around himself, so as to enrich and season and flavor it. Well, it sounds like the sausage has some legit like cooking skills. I mean, it didn't seem like he was doing a lot, but if he's actually like staying by the food the whole time and like really like making it like tasty, like think about it. If you had a professional chef living at your house, like that's legit. That's like a legit like contribution. I mean, if you're rich and you have like a professional chef like living in your home and like cooking you like the healthiest meals, like LeBron James, he's got all those best athletes, all the top athletes have like professional chefs, and they'll like live in their homes sometimes, or like make like the best quality food and all that stuff for them. That's a huge contribution. All right, but anyways, then the bird used to come home and lay down his load. So yeah, the bird was out getting all the wood, and they sat down at the table, and after a good meal, they would go to bed and sleep their fill. Ooh, I like that. People don't say that anymore. No one ever says that you've slept your fill, right? I like that, though. I'm going to start saying that. It's like, how did you sleep last night? Well, I slept my fill. It's like a weird thing to say, right? You slept your... I mean, it makes sense. You can deduce what it means, right? But it's just kind of like a weird way of phrasing it. The Brothers Grimm, I mean, they were around in the 1800s, though, too, I guess. All right. Anyways, so they slept their fill till the next morning. It really was a most satisfactory life. So they got the perfect thing going on, but I don't know, this other bird is whispering in the bird's ear. So now like they might have some issues. But the bird came to the resolution next day never again to fetch wood. The bird is doing a strike. He's doing a labor strike right now. He's like, fuck this dynamic. I am not satisfied with the working conditions between us three. Like, I feel like you guys need to be contributing more. All right, this is his first mistake. What the bird needed to do is have open and honest communication with both the sausage and the mouse, right? Wait, was it even a mouse? Yeah. I was like losing my shit for a second. Anyways, yeah, so the bird should have come back and been like, hey, I was out flying around working my ass off getting wood, and I was talking to this other bird. I told him about you guys hanging out back here, sausage, you're just cooking up some stuff. And Mouse, like I told him what you were doing, and he said you guys are freeloading assholes, right? He said you guys aren't doing enough, you're not contributing enough. And I'm out here like working my ass off collecting wood all day, right? So like maybe we should re-examine the dynamic of this three-way partnership or whatever they got going on, right? Like he should have had open, honest communication, right? If you don't have open, honest communication, like bad things happen in relationships. Anyways, so yeah, he decided he was never going to fetch wood. He said, been their slave long enough. Ooh, so he's using strong language now too. Now they must change about and make a new arrangement. So in spite of all the mouse and the sausage could say, the bird was determined to have his own way. So they drew lots to settle it, and as the lot fell, the sausage was to fetch wood, the mouse was to cook, and the bird was to draw water and make the fire. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, they're going to have problems. We know where this is going. We know exactly where this is going. I mean, like, do you really want to send the sausage out to get wood? Like, what the fuck is the sausage going to do? He's going to be, like, slipping. He's going to be, like, think of an Italian sausage out there, like, like trying to grab wood. He's going to be, like, all slippery and getting, like, slime and everything all over the wood. He's going to probably, like, get hurt and shit. A sausage is not, like, not what the one to send out to, like, find the wood, right? And then also it doesn't make any sense to have, it doesn't make any sense to have the mouse cook. Well, the mouse can cook. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the mouse cooking. I can envision a scenario where the mouse could be a perfectly fine chef, right? But the bird had to draw water and make the fire. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't. For some reason, something about that rubs me the wrong way. Like having the bird draw water and make fire. I mean, it just doesn't seem plausible. Like, when have you seen a bird make a fire, right? I mean, that just doesn't seem right. All right, anyways, now see what happened. The sausage went away after wood. Oh, what's going on? Do we have a raid or something? Chad Guy, you messing with me? Did I just get debated? Yeah, Chad Guy just debated me, man. Thanks, man. Thanks. All right, well, whatever. That was a good one, man. You get points for that. I should throw you some channel points for that debate right there. All right. Anyways, hold on. We gotta get back to this. We got serious business going on. Aristotle, you say sausage was traditionally trained in Paris. Drawing water sucks. It totally sucks. Like, what kind of job is that? Like, that's your job? I don't know. The water drawer. And Chad Guy, you were saying earlier, wins the hot tub stream category. Come on, I'm never going in that category. That's not gonna. I'll tell you what. If I can do this as a full-time job and survive off Twitch income, I will do hot tub streams. I will read philosophy from the hot tub. JT, you say the sausage is going to win. By the way, who won the poll? I didn't even look. Who won? Like, I don't know. All right, well, whatever. We got to get back to all this. Let's see. Chad Guy, you say Agnew just talking about a sausage gathering. What else? Okay, whatever. We got like one page. Let me finish up this page. All right. Anyways, now see what happened. The sausage went away after wood. The bird made up the fire, and the mouse put on the pot, and they waited until the sausage could come home, bringing the wood for the next day. But the sausage was absent so long that they thought something must have happened to him, and the bird went part of the way to see if he could see anything of him. Not far off, he met a dog on the road, who, looking upon the sausage as lawful prey, had picked him up and made an end of him. The fucking dog ate the sausage. I think we're all wrong. No one guessed that, right? No one guessed that there was going to be some random dog that was going to eat the sausage. The dog wasn't even a character. He wasn't even a character in the story. The dog ate the goddamn sausage. And he was a great cook too. You just lost your best cook. I knew it was going to be a mistake to send the sausage out there to find wood. That's totally a blunder. Like, strategically, that's like a really bad mistake. Okay. Anyways, the bird then lodged a complaint against the dog. Dude, so the bird's like, hey dog, you got my buddy the sausage in your stomach, and you like already probably chewed him up to bits, and like I'm gonna like lodge a complaint. That doesn't sound, that sounds really fucking weird. I mean, I don't know many birds that would lodge a complaint if their buddy the sausage got eaten. And like, what good is that going to do? I mean, there's no like complaint department back in the 1800s for like a bird, a sausage, and a mouse living in the fucking woods. You can't go to someone and like complain. The dog is just being a dog. The dog is living according to its own nature. It's like, dude, the sausage was just walking around. It's just a sausage. I'm going to eat a sausage if it's walking around. All right. The bird lodged a complaint against the dog, but it was no good, as the dog swore that he had found forged letters on the sausage so that he deserved to lose his life. The dog swore that he had found forged letters on the sausage so that he deserved to lose his life? I don't know about that. I mean, that's a pretty like weird thing to say. But I mean, I guess if it helps you get away with it, right? If it helps you get away with it. Aristotle, you say dogs do love sausage. They do love sausage, I know. You know what? Here's the other problem. If you're a sausage, you probably know like that dogs are going to want to eat you, right? So when they said, hey, sausage, you got to go out in the woods, like the first thing, if I was a sausage, the first thing I would have said was, hey, if I go out there, any dog is just going to eat me. And then you know, the mouse and the bird got to like take that as a serious concern, and they got to figure out what they're going to do, right? All right, anyways, the bird then very sadly took up the wood and carried it home himself and related to the mouse all he had seen and heard. They were both very troubled, but determined to look on the bright side of things and still to remain together. Dude, they have such a positive attitude. Think about that. Your buddy, your best friend, the sausage, just got eaten by a dog, and you're like, yeah, we're going to maintain a positive, loving attitude. Like, they probably are, they're totally into the internal energy arts. They're probably totally doing, like, meditation, qigong, kumai. Like, how else are you going to be positive and stay positive after losing a friend like that, right? That's, you know, this is actually a pretty cool thing. Like, I have a lot more respect for the mouse and the bird, like, to be able to maintain a positive mental state after losing their buddy like that. Let's see. Anyways, and so the bird laid the cloth, and the mouse prepared the food and finally got into the pot, as the sausage used to do, to stir and flavor the broth. But then she had to part with fur and skin, and finally with life. Oh, literally, so the mouse literally got into the pot. Holy shit. So that's, I didn't realize that the sausage was actually getting into the pot. So the sausage was in the pot doing everything, because that's where a sausage can hang out. That's like he's living in his home, right? What the fuck why the fuck would the mouse go in the pot? You would think he would know what was going to happen, right? And he's getting like fur. He's getting fur in your food. Dude, that's crazy. Like, if I saw a mouse in my pot, I'd be pretty pissed off, man. That's going to ruin any meal you're cooking. I mean, unless it's like mouse, but like, I don't know, man. That just seems weird. My buddy Roko Hemda, who comes to this chat, yeah, exactly. You both are saying, wait, what? Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. It's craziness. And Chaga, you say the sausage was a terrorist dog. He was in he's right. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that earlier, but yeah, this is getting even more crazy. Like the mouse is like in the pot, like burning to death. You know, like. One thing though, Roko Hemda, who comes to this chat all the time, one of my best buddies since I was 5 years old. This guy's like my best friend. This guy's an amazing dude. He once baked cookies, and his cat had gotten up there like somehow when he was baking, and he gave me a batch of cookies. I bit into one, and it was just filled with fucking cat hair. It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever bitten into in my life. I was just like, dude, thank you so much. He's like, yeah, dude, this is my gift to you, man. I'm grateful to give this to you, man. Thank you for all your help. And I was like, sure. I bite into it, and it's just cat hair, and I'm like, and I'm like, pull on. He's like, what? He said, what? What's going on? I'm like, I show him the fucking cookie. He couldn't believe it. Somehow, like his cat just like had it was a long hair, and it must have like got its like fur in the dough or something, because like it was ridiculous. The whole damn cookie was just filled with hair. It was so disgusting. All right. Anyways, we gotta get back to this. So last thing was the mouse. Mouse gave up his life in the pot, right? He got fur and skin. His fur and skin melted in the pot. So imagine the bird then going to eat that. And he's like, oh well, great. Now I have like a pot full of like fur and skin and dead mouse, right? And when the bird came to dish up the dinner, there was no cook to be seen. And he turned over the heap of wood and looked, but the cook never appeared again. By accident, the wood caught fire, and the bird hastened to fetch water to put it out, but he let fall the bucket in the well, and himself after it, and as he could not get out again, he was drowned. So then the fucking bird dies too. Dude. So they all die? They all just end up dead like that? That's how the story ends? These Grimm's fairy tales are pretty dark. I can't believe my mom gave this to me when I was 8. Like, this is some of the darkest content I've ever read. Like, I feel bad. I feel worse for the sausage. No, who do you feel worse for? Like the sausage? I mean, the sausage got eaten by a dog. It was probably a quick death, right? Dogs don't fuck around when they're eating sausage. They just eat thing quick. So the sausage died relatively easily, right? Probably just like swallowed it whole or whatever. He's just dead, right? The mouse, though, I think the mouse probably had it the worst, right? I mean, for the mouse to get burned to death in the pot, that's insane, right? Like, that would be a terrible way to go. I would hate, like, if someone was going to eat me, like, I would just kill me first and then put me in the pot. Don't put me in the pot while I'm alive. I wouldn't want to have to experience that, right? Okay, let's see. Where are we at here? JT said we got bamboozled. Yeah. No one thought the dog was gonna come out of nowhere and eat the sausage, and then like have like some weird like thing about forged papers that he's like, oh, don't worry, the sausage had forged papers on him or whatever. And let's see, Aristotle, you say you ever see the old Filthy Frank video where they eat a cake made of hair? No, I have not, and I don't want to see that. Dude, I don't like that. I don't like the notion of eating hair. It's just not fun. JT, you say moral of the story: don't do shit and stay alive. Yeah, or else just don't let, if some bird comes up to you and it's like, hey, I'm going to be the bird in your ear, right? I'm going to be the bird in your ear. I'm going to tell you things, and they're going to make you pissed off at your roommates or your significant other. And then you're going to start feeling like weird feelings about them. Have better communication, open, honest communication. That's the moral of the story for me. Let's see, Chagga, you say, LL, from that day, cookies gave Agni PTSD. Yeah, they did, dude. That was really disgusting. I'll tell you what, it took me a couple years. It took me a few years after that to even eat one of his cookies, because he used to make cookies and bring them into work. We both were special ed teachers. And so we actually carpooled. It was amazing. Like, I'm literally working with my best friend, and we were teaching special ed it was like a good situation. We had a good working relationship, and we're best friends on top of it, right? So he brought cookies into work all the time, and this was the only one that ever had a problem. But after that, it took me a couple of years to even want to eat one of his cookies. I mean, if someone gives you a cookie filled with hair, it's kind of weird, to grabbing that next one they give you and wanting to bite into it. Aristotle, you say Grimm's fairy tales led to your love for metal. I mean, it's possible, right? It definitely could have affected me on a subconscious level, right? I mean, it could have affected me on a very strong foundational level and freaked me out. I mean, weird things can freak you out when you're a kid, right? You never know. People get freaked out, and that stuff lingers, right? That stuff lingers in your unconscious mind, right? It's just there. It's just there, right? Aristotle, you said you expected the bird to eat the sausage and mouse. I was thinking something like that too, right? Because birds do eat mice, and you could envision a bird eating a sausage. I mean, typically it's going to be a different kind of, like a dog or a human that's eating a sausage. But birds would, if a bird was hungry enough, it would eat a sausage, right? And here the bird didn't eat the sausage or the mouse, but he was indirectly responsible for their deaths, maybe, right? He was indirectly responsible for their deaths, right? I wouldn't go so far to say that he actively wanted their death. He wasn't an active agent in their deaths, but there was some level of accountability, right? I mean, you're the ethics philosopher, man. What do you think? How much responsibility does the bird have for the death of the sausage and the mouse? I mean, it wasn't intentional, right? According to the legal system, right? If it's an unintentional death, that's a lot less severe than intentional homicide, right? If you accidentally kill someone, that's going to be you're still going to go to jail, but it's not going to be as big of a deal. It's an interesting question, though. I mean, and then the bird died anyway, though, so it's not like he's going to be have to go to court or live with remorse and guilt the rest of his life. Aristotle, you say you saw the way that sausage dressed. He was basically asking for it. No, it's not, dude. You're in my chat, man. You're in my chat. Remember, this is not you're not if you were teaching, at your college, if you were actually up there, at the podium teaching class, and you said it that probably would be too edgy. It's crazy, by the way, the things that you can say and that you can't say. Oh, I have an awesome story. Speaking of that, are you guys cool for a story? So anyways, I was in a poetry class a few years back. This was 2019. This was 2019. I had been writing a bunch of poetry. I had been going to poetry readings. I had been publishing poetry, right? I was loving it, right? I was digging it. So I took a poetry class at a local community college, right? And in the poetry class, it was going great. We were about halfway through the semester, and the instructor had us do like this weird assignment where everyone just went up to the like the chalkboard to the board and wrote like a word that we wanted to on the board, right? Just like any word that came to mind, right? So everyone just goes up there with their magic marker, not their magic markers, but whatever, their dry erase markers. That's what people use, right? And they wrote their word, right? The word that I wrote was the word bipolar because it just popped into my mind, right? I was, whatever. I'm going to do the assignment. I'm going to write the word bipolar, right? And so then the next part of the assignment was that for each student had to go around and write next to that word, like draw an arrow and write whether they had a positive, negative, or neutral association with that word. If that word sparked a positive, if that word had a positive, negative, or neutral connotation to them, right? So, people were just going around to the words and writing positive, neutral, negative, right, on all the different words. So a girl in the class came up and wrote the word negative next to the bipolar word that I had written on the board, right? And as soon as she did that, a different girl across the room looked over and saw her that she had written negative and wigged out. She completely freaked out and said, erase that. That I find that offensive. That is so offensive. Erase that. I can't, you can't do that. Erase that. And then she was looking at then she looked at the professor and she's like, erase that. Have her erase that right now. That's total. And she just lost her shit. You're not going to fucking believe what the professor did. You're never going to believe it. He told the student to erase it. And she's like, what? I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just doing the assignment. He's like, I know, just erase it. I was like, what the fuck? What kind of world am I living in? Like, what is going on? Just because in this girl's head, she had a negative association of the word, negative feelings associated with the word bipolar, just because in her head she had those feelings and she was doing the assignment, she literally had to erase it because the other girl found it offensive. And by the way, the professor was the department head. He was the Department of Liberal Arts and Sciences there. Isn't that fucking crazy? The goddamn department head of Liberal Arts and Sciences at this college fucking had her erase the word. Like, what the fuck? I mean, can you imagine? And if she's gonna freak out over and take offense to something like that, can you imagine when she actually goes out into the real world? Like, that's a terrible learning lesson, right? Life is offensive. Everyone knows that life is fucking offensive. When you go out in the real world, some people don't eat. Some people die of disease. Some people live in Africa and have mosquitoes on their eyeball all day. Every day, they literally, it's like, what do you do today? Well, I had 1,001 mosquitoes, bite me in the eyeball, and but it was a good day because I had a half grain of rice, and it's like, that's their life, right? And this girl can't even handle the fact that the fucking other person has a thought in her head that is of a negative connotation with the word bipolar. Dude, really? That blew my mind, man. That blew my mind. And everyone in the class was kind of like, whoa. But some people were like, yeah, that's right. You erased that. And I was like, looking at those people dude, where the fuck did you come from? Who are these people? It's totally a nightmare, man. It is totally a nightmare. And that's where our pedagogical system is heading. I'm afraid if we continue going in that direction, it's really a nightmare. We're going to be in some trouble. Aristotle, you say, you understand that we should be sensitive to certain issues. Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer in that too. There's certain issues that are ridiculously sensitive right now. And it's very hard to talk about. And you have to be so careful navigating the contours of those discussions, right? You know it better than anyone, right? But sometimes it goes too far. Yeah. For example, epistemic violence is a term of art in social epistemology, and it always makes you cringe. Yeah, man, I hear you, dude. I mean, epistemic violence, just knowledge-based, dude. So part of me, it's crazy. if we can't communicate, if we're so afraid to communicate, like even just basic shit, because we're afraid that someone's going to find it offensive. Like, here's what I wanted to do. Here was the move that I should have done. I didn't think of it at the time, but right next to the word that I had written, bipolar, was the word cat. I wanted to go. And there were some people that had positive and negative associations with cat, right? I wanted to go up to the word cat and say, Professor, I can't handle that someone has a negative association with a cat. That it's really offensive. It's too offensive. Like, please save me from this. Please erase it. Have her erase it. Have her erase it. She can't have negative thoughts about the word cat. I wanted to do that because to really drive home the point. Sometimes you got to drive it home. I didn't. I just played it cool and was just kind of like standing there with my jaw dropped because I was kind of in shock that what was going on. But it's kind of crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. All right. Chad guy, you say, LOL, Agni clapped when she erased bipolar. Oh yeah, I did not clap. I absolutely not. He's like, that's fucking right. No, I did not. I absolutely did not. It could have been maybe a sarcastic clap, right? Like, like the NBA players used to do. They'd be like, oh, ha 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 ha. Like, good call, ref. Good call, ref, right? I don't even know if they're allowed to do that. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore. Aristotle, you say, nah, best not to kick the hornets. Exactly. And here's the thing. Here's also the thing. This girl was like in legitimate emotional like peril. She was like so stressed. She was like wigging out. She was having like a full scale like panic attack. It's like, if you're a professor and the kid's like having like a crazy panic attack, some like 18-year-old, freshman at a community college, it's like, do you really want to like, make things worse? And then you could solve the problem immediately by just erasing the word. But I don't know though. Still, like I don't think I would have. I would have, if I was teaching, I definitely would not have erased the word. I would have been like, I know you're having a hard time. If you want, you can take a break and you can go to the washroom. Get some water. We'll be done with this assignment very soon, and everything will be off the board. It sets a bad example for life. I mean, because now this girl's going to go out into the real world, and whenever someone does anything that she finds like mildly offensive, she's just going to expect them to change their fucking behavior or change the way they think, and that's a problem. I find that very problematic. I think as teachers, we have a certain responsibility. I'm a chess teacher IRL, right? You're a philosophy professor IRL, right? I teach guided meditations, so like we have a certain responsibility to actually, care for our students in ways that are going to be beneficial to this student. And like teaching a student the lesson that, life is just always going to change and bend and accommodate them is not a good lesson. This life is tough. Life is suffering. Chaga, you brought up suffering earlier, suffering is a major component of the human condition. I mean, some might go as far to say it's the salient component of the human condition, right? Let's see. Aristotle, you say, in your feminist philosophy course in grad school, your professor gave a first day warning that she wasn't a counselor and the class was not a place to trauma dump. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's I think if you're establishing clear expectations from the beginning, I think that's pretty cool. So basically, she didn't want people just talking about all their problems and all the trauma that they've had in their lives. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a pretty good lesson, right? Yeah, if you want to talk, you got to know the context of when to communicate, right? Talk to a friend. Don't just bring something up in the middle of like your college class if it's gonna like make you like break down and like freak out and then other people are gonna get. It's like that could create a really fucked up dynamic, right? Chad guy, you say, was she at least good looking? Dude, you are intense. You're intense with the comments, man. I gotta respond though. I'll respond. I did not particularly find her good looking, but I definitely know that there are guys in the world that would have found her good looking. I don't. So like that's just where I'm gonna go with that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. We were friends for a while. I think we're still friends on Instagram. We're still friends on Instagram, and she loves my poetry, which is crazy because I would think she would find my poetry offensive because I'm always talking about weird shit. One other crazy thing. There was another girl in that class, this girl, that was reading A Clockwork Orange, And she's just like, I was talking to her about it, and I was like, what do you think? That's like, I love that book, right? And she's like, oh, this is terrible. It's so vile, and there's so much violence in this book, right? And there is, to be fair, there's a ton of violence in A Clockwork Orange. And I was like, yeah, that's part of the author's point. That's part of the deal with A Clockwork Orange. It's supposed to be violent. It's supposed to show the circular route, the cyclical route of violence, like a clockwork, right? You come around and you come back to the same place you were, like Alex at the end of Clockwork Orange. Everyone's probably seen it. If not, I just spoiled everything for you, so don't watch it then. But anyways, then she starts going off about how she thinks it shouldn't be allowed to be published, and I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute, this is fiction, like this is freedom of speech. And she's like, no, but this is just too violent. This shouldn't be published. And I looked at her and I'm like, so you want to censor art? You want to censor art? And she's like, no. She's like, no, I don't want to censor art. And then she realized that she just got caught up, because she's like basically saying she wants to censor art, and then now she's saying that like she doesn't want to censor art, right? And then I was not gonna put. And then she got like red in the face, she was like embarrassed. So then I was like, all right, I just left it alone. I changed the subject to something very dry and neutral, and then we talked about that dry, neutral subject for a while. And then she was finally able to like let go of like all that tension that built up when I like called her out on the fact that she wanted to fucking censor art. And she's a goddamn poet. This is literally poetry class. She's literally a poet, and she's talking about censoring art. That blows my mind, right? Let's see. Aristotle, you say Clockwork Orange, though, is far from gratuitous. Yeah, Clockwork Orange is artful. Clockwork Orange is a phenomenal book. I mean, I have it here. I got the book right here. I think most people haven't read the book, but they've seen the movie. They've seen Kubrick's movie, right? But this is the book, right? It's a good book. It's a legitimate book. I've had this book since I was an undergrad, and I've watched the movie many times. One of my friends growing up, he got obsessed with that movie, and he would just play it on repeat over and over and over in his house. And it was like the hangout place. So there'd be a bunch of people hanging out there, just like partying, getting high, drinking, whatever. But he'd always have that fucking movie going on repeat. And people like eventually were like, dude, can you put on something else? Like we have seen this movie like 16 times in the last week and a half. And he eventually changed it, but like he loved it. I saw that movie many times, man. I was doing the impersonations. Let's see if I can still do the impersonations. I haven't done them in a while. I was like okay, when he walked into the record store, right? When Alex walks into the record store and he puts his arms around those two women, and he's talking to them, and he's like, let me think of how it goes. What? See if I can do this. What you got back home, little sister, to play your fuzzy wobbles on? Oh, that was really bad, huh? What you got back home, little sister, to play your fuzzy wobbles on? That's a little better. All right. That's a little bit better, right? Yeah. Because what do you got back home to play your fuzzy wobbles on? He's referring to the records. It's a record store, right? That's a great line. Like, I want to go into a record store so bad and just like put my arm around a girl and just be like, what you got back home, little sister, to play your fuzzy wobbles on? Like it's so beautiful. It's like such a smooth line, man. It is so slick. I mean, nowadays you'd probably get arrested, right, if you did something like that. But back in the day, that was like cool. If you're like in England and you're Alex in England, right, and you're like, you got game, right? He had a lot of game, by the way. Even though he was like a psycho, he had a lot of game. Let's see. Chad guy, you say, LO Agni, DM her saying you remember when you totally owned the classroom. I was rooting for her. Yeah, right. Aristotle, you say that's the version you read a while back. Cool, probably like 2006 or so. Yeah, it's a solid version. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's a good book, right? Chad guy, you say, what was my most embarrassing moment? Whoa. All right, this is intense. Okay, I'll tell you. This was a crazy fucking instance. All right. So, all right, I'm in high school, And it's lunchtime. Me and a buddy are eating lunch. We finished our lunches quick though, and we're just like sitting there. And we had our lunches like split up. Everyone had their lunches like at different periods, right? It was like 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B, 6A, and 6B. There were just different times, broken up throughout the day for lunch, right? So me and my buddy are finishing. No one else. I didn't have any other friends who had that lunch except the one buddy. And I finished. I'm like, dude, fuck this. I'm not staying in the lunchroom. We were supposed to stay in there and not leave. But I was like, I'm gonna go. Let's go walk around the school. So we waited. There was this lady that used to walk around. We called her the German lady because she was German. We didn't know her name. But she used to always put her hands behind her back like this, and she would just like walk like this. Just like here. I mean, that's like you should see it from this angle, I think. So just maybe this is like the best angle, right? Just like this, with like kind of big strides, and she would always have her hands behind her back. No one bothered to ever learn her name, but she was just called the German lady, right? And she would regulate things in the lunchroom, right? When people would fuck around, she would like yell at them with like a really strong German accent, and then they would put their heads down and smile, right? It was one of those things. But anyways, so I waited for the German lady to like walk past, and then she was, past us. So then I got up, I walked up, my buddy came out with me, and we're just walking through the hallways. We're like, this kind of sucks, nothing's going on. Everyone's in class, obviously. No one's just like hanging out in the hallways, right? And we're keeping our eye out for like, hall monitors and people that are gonna fucking rat us out, right? And anyways, our school was weird. It had 4 wings, and in the middle of it was a grassy courtyard that they almost never used. But so you had the 4 wings, like a big rectangle with like a big grassy courtyard in the middle, right? And there were doors, throughout the, around the circumference or around the perimeter of the rectangle that led out into the courtyard. And they were, you weren't allowed to go out there though. You weren't allowed to do it, but you could see out there when you were in class. So it's like it gave you something grassy to look at, right? I guess that was the idea. Anyways, so I was like, dude, let's go out into the courtyard, right? So, and by the way, my high school was made with air conditioning, right? It had air conditioning set up in it, but the other high school in the town did not have the building did not have air conditioning installed in it. So what that meant is taxpayers did not allow for us to use our fucking air conditioning. So our building was smoking hot because we had these tiny little windows that were designed for a building that's using air conditioning to let out less heat, right? And so we had these tiny little windows, but they were it was super hot, right? It was one of those super hot days, so all the windows were open, right? So everyone in every classroom was just sitting there listening to their lectures, right? Doing their classwork, right? And me and my buddy walk out into the quad, right? We walk out into the courtyard, and we're just walking through the courtyard, we're like looking up, we see some people in the windows that are starting to spot us, we're like looking around like, fuck, like we're gonna get in trouble. We can only stay out here a minute. And so like I'm out there, I just go into the middle of the courtyard, and Korn was one of my favorite bands at the time, right? Korn. I don't know if you're into them at all. Their first album was revolutionary. It was groundbreaking. It changed the way music was made. A lot of people don't know that about Korn. And their second album, Life Is Peachy, was also really good. Their third album was good, but like after that, I feel like there was a very significant decline. Like I like their first album, though I still listen to this day. Like Blind is one of my favorite tracks. It's such a good track. Chutes and Ladders, yeah, but that's overplayed, right? But anyways. I go out into the courtyard and I scream at the top of my lungs, just like this. To a world that never appreciated shit. You can suck my dick and fucking like it! At the top of my lungs, like as loud as I could possibly scream it. And since all the windows were open, and it just echoed throughout the entire courtyard, right? And every student just like ran to the fucking windows and sees me and my buddy Art out there and me screaming this, and they're just like, holy shit! And so we immediately run back to the fucking door. We run back to the door. I go to open the door that we came in, and it was fucking locked. It locked behind us. It was craziness. I'm panicking. I am so humiliated. I am so fucking embarrassed. So then I run to the next door. It's fucking locked. I run to the third door. We're trying all these doors. They're fucking locked. Run to the next door. We open it up, and it's literally the fucking door right next to the police counselor's fucking office. It was such a fucking joke. There was some fucking miracle that occurred because the police officer, counselor happened to not fucking be in his office, and we got in, and like no one saw us. No one fucking saw us. And we went back to the lunchroom and sat down, and like it was perfectly fine. It was amazing. It was incredible. And throughout the rest of the day, everyone's like, dude, I saw you in the courtyard, man. That was so fucking funny. My teacher almost shit a brick, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's like talking, right? They're talking shit. Right. So then in 8th period, I had math class with a really cool math teacher. Her name was Miss McKenna. Super awesome. We had like a joking relationship. It's cool if you're like in high school and you can like actually joke around with a teacher like one-on-one. Like that's pretty rare, right? She really liked me. I think she might have had a crush on me, but I don't know. I like to just think that all women have crushes on me. But anyways, so yeah, 8th period came around, and I come into class, and Miss McKenna calls me over, like, and real quietly under her breath, she's like, "So did you have some fun in the courtyard today?" And she just smiles at me. I'm just like, "Ugh." and she's like, "Don't worry, you're okay." And then that was it. That was all that was said. That was all that was said. She did not rat me out. So she must have been by the window, or else like someone was like, "Hey, that's Agni out there doing that, right?" So, but she didn't rat me out. It was the coolest thing. I totally got away with it. It was so much fun, right? But yeah, and that's what you do in high school, right? That's what kids do in high school. All right, it's fucking 11:55. I've been streaming 3 hours and 4 minutes. I better stop, right? Because like I need to do options trading tomorrow morning, and I have like a lot going on. So like let's do a raid. Let's get the raid call ready. Let's see who's out there first. That's always a big thing, see who's out there. And one of the problems with raiding late is that a lot of times like my buddies are not even streaming anymore. It's like it's kind of messed up. That's the one thing I don't like about streaming late. Like Aristotle, you got to start streaming like later than me, man. Because I want to raid. I like raiding my buddies, and they're not always out there when I finish up. Let's see who's available right now. Let's see who's out in the streaming world. Okay, all right. Well, Mary Amber's streaming. It's her 5-year streamiversity. All right, dude, why does she have so many fucking people? She's got 1.2 thousand people in her chat. She normally has like 80. She's got 1.2 thousand. Hey, Macker, hold on. I missed what you. I got to put the raid call in there. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. Thank you so much for the follow. Macaron granola. Cool. Thank you so much for the follow. You're a writer guy. Cool. Well, welcome. Yeah, we do all sorts of stuff here. I do primarily guided meditations. This is what I've been doing on Twitch for the last 16 months. I run guided meditations, and then also I have a master's in analytic philosophy, so I do streams where I talk about philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, and metaphysics. And then I also am a chess instructor, IRL. So I play chess on here, and I do chess lessons and things like that. We've also been reading from the Tao Te Ching, one of the greatest books ever written. We were reading from The Sevenfold Journey. And speaking of good writing, we have been reading from Grimm's Fairy Tales. Today we read the bird, the mouse, and the sausage. The mouse, the bird, and the sausage. And by the way, I don't know if you've read The Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage, but it's pretty messed up. That's a pretty messed up story. But yeah, anyways, this person normally has 80 people. She's got 1.2 thousand. Here's the raid call. Copy and paste that in. We're gonna give her a raid. She's a really cool person, and she's big into mental health awareness. That's one of the reasons why I really like her. She's also Australian, and she is like a professional. She was a professional ping pong player. I think she was actually a champion at one time in ping pong. She's a very talented musician, and she's funny as hell. She's got a great sense of humor. All right, so thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much, Macaroni Granola. I much appreciate you coming in here. I know I'm butchering your name, but I'm butchering everything. Petey, hey, you hung out. I didn't know you were still here. It was so good seeing you. Thanks again for coming to the meditation and being with us today. And I love you all. Taylor Jade, thank you so much too. And Aristotle, man, and Chad guy, I have nothing but good things to say about you, Aristotle, man. You are the king of you're the king of philosophy streaming on Twitch. I consider you the king, and like Noger and I are you're humble servants. We're like your humble loyal servants. As far as philosophy goes, if I'm doing chess, if I'm streaming chess content, it might be the other way around. All right. Anyways,
Yeah, we're gonna rate her. So thank you all so much. Namaste. Be kind to the people around you. Be loving. Share the love. Do whatever you can to make someone's life better, and just be a good human being. Right? Aristotle said that's too much power to wield. Yeah, well, I don't know. It is what it is. Right? All right. See you later.